Now we are live. Get the link out to people.
Ah, so that's the title you've been telling me about.
Yes.
Now I get it.
Uh,
Sorry I'm so quiet. I'm still on my search for that one SCP that I just think is so repulsive.
hello, Mr. Shadier and Raptor. How are you guys?
Hey guys.
Discord. Hello, Bioman.
You avoid a rap rat today.
Yes.
Good.
Until you have returned. Waiting for dinner, having pork. Ooh, very nice.
Yum. I can
Hello,
not
Rudy.
find this goddamn. Wait, maybe this one's it. Maybe not. Hello, Rudy. I won't stay long as it's 10 p.m. and I'm gonna be figuring stuff out with the CV do. But yes, you will, Rudy. You will be with us in spirit. Manny, you're too quiet.
I'm putting the link out.
That's what you sound like.
No, that's what you sound like.
That's what you sound like.
Trying to be humorous and mock
I
me.
am humorous. I mean, I can't. Maybe you'll know it if I describe it to you afterwards, but I'll wait until after this stream because I don't feel like saying it on stream right now. But
Interesting.
I know it's not up there, and like, at least I don't think it's up there in some of the more popular spooky SCPs. It's just more gross than anything.
All right. Let's wait a couple more minutes for some people to get in here.
This might be all we get for a while. So, it seems like most everyone is busy.
Yeah.
So sad. Anyway, Manny, how was your day?
Uh, it was a day.
It was indeed a day.
How about yours?
It too was a day. Um, I woke up with still no power, and then I had to get ready without power, which is doable, but is a pain in the ass. And I went to a doctor's appointment, and it turns out that apparently I have a high heart rate, which is worrying my doctor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I feel normal.
Well, it's good that you feel normal, and I mean, I don't know what can really be done about a high heart rate, but I'm
She is
sure.
lowering my dose. She lowered my dosage of Adderall, which I don't think will probably be a problem, and then gave me a new medication to look into. And the only reason I didn't switch it to it today is because I don't know if my insurance covers it. So I have
Oh,
to look into that.
gotcha.
But apparently, that one doesn't stimulate the heart as much as Adderall does.
I see. Well, I hope it works out for you. So
No,
what?
Rudy, I will not remove my heart.
I was gonna say, do we really have to go back into like ancient Aztec culture?
I'd rather not.
That would involve the time machine.
I'd rather not have someone Kali mommy.
Oh no, Kalima is when they do it with their bare hand. The Aztecs used an obsidian dagger.
Oh, well, then that's okay. As long as there's tools.
Yeah, and there's no bone breaking involved in that one either. You know, they cut in like the solar plexus and just reach up under the ribs.
Oh, that sounds much less painful.
Right?
Anyway, shall we begin?
Hmm. I suppose. All right.
People will come in when they come in.
So the first story we have to start. I'll just read this one. It's very short. And then we can do our normal uh, exchange of paragraphs with the next one.
Okay.
This is SCP-005, the key. Item number SCP-005. Object class, safe. Special containment procedures. SCP-005 poses no immediate risk in any direct sense. Even so, its unique functions require special measures be taken to restrict access and manipulation of the object. Approval of at least one Level 4 personnel is required for the removal of the object from its containment area. Description: in appearance, excuse me. In appearance, SCP-005 resembles an ornate key, displaying the characteristics of a typical mass-produced key used in the 1920s. The key was discovered when a civilization used it to infiltrate a high-security facility. SCP-005 seems to have the unique ability to open any and all forms of lock, see Appendix A, be they mechanical or digital, with relative ease. The origin of this ability has yet to be determined. Additional notes. SCP-005 may be used as a replacement for lost security passes, but only under the supervision of at least one Level 4 personnel. SCP-005 may not be used for vending machine repairs, opening lockers, or for any personnel's spare home key. Removal of the object from the compound will result in immediate termination. Appendix A. While SCP-005 has been shown to be effective in removing almost any form of locking device, further experiments have shown that efforts to disguise the purpose or identity of a lock have proven at least somewhat successful in defeating SCP-005's ability. In approximately 50% of cases where a volunteer was not able to identify a locking device as such, SCP-005 was not successful in deactivating the device. Due to these results, SCP-005 has been tentatively classified as sentient, and further tests are being run to determine its cognitive abilities. However, there are no results that show any traits that prevent it from being able to identify any particular locking device, only that the aforementioned device has been heavily concealed and disguised. Excuse me. So, that not much there. Pretty secret, pretty safe. So, what would y'all think of 005?
Rudy says it is the key to their heart.
Interesting.
Anyone out there? And there goes Eli.
Oh boy.
He stopped. That was a relatively short barking session. Mr. Shader thought it was kind of dull. I mean, it's a key. What much can you say?
Yeah. Well, maybe the next one will be a bit more entertaining for y'all.
May I start this one?
Yes, in just a moment. Alright, so this one is SCP-093, the Red Sea Object.
Item number SCP-093. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. See testing document SCP-093-T1 for outline of testing conditions. SCP-093 must remain on a mirror at all times and under video surveillance. Admittance into the area of SCP-093's containment must be authorized only with proper video recording and subject retrieval procedures in place. Any attempt to use SCP-093 outside of approved test will be dealt with severely, up to and including termination. Description: SCP-093 is a primarily red disc carved from a stone composite resembling cinnabar, with circular engravings and unknown symbols carved at 0.5 centimeter depth around the entire object. Deeper cuts are present on SCP-093 with a depth of 1 to 1.5 centimeters. SCP-093 is 7.62 centimeters in diameter and fits comfortably into most palms without abrasion. SCP-093 will change hue when held by a living individual. Colors taken by SCP-093 are still being researched to establish a link. Current beliefs hold that the changes depend on regrets carried by the holder. If SCP-093 is removed from a mirror and not held by a person, it will seek out the nearest mirror-like surface. SCP-093 has been observed to travel in the largest possible circle while rolling, building up phenomenal speed. The mechanism of this acceleration is currently unknown. If an obstacle is between SCP-093 and the nearest mirror-like surface, it will use this momentum to punch through the obstacle and continue on its course at this speed. It will only stop when a mirror-like surface is contacted. Despite the tremendous impact velocities, no damage will be dealt to SCP-093 or the mirror. Would you like to continue?
You go ahead. I'll take over for original documentation.
Additional notes. No record exists to clarify the nature of SCP-093's discovery or presence in the Foundation. See SCP-093-OD. Since no records exist explaining SCP-093's method of containment, a test procedure was initiated to establish why mirrors must be used to contain it. The results of SCP-093-T1 lead to the discovery of living beings holding SCP-093 being able to move through mirrors and the series of tests in SCP-093-T2 to ascertain the destination reached through this travel.
SCP-093 Original Documentation. Item Number SCP-093. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Item SCP-093 is to be kept on a silver-lined mirror on a 0.3 by 0.23, 1 foot by 9 inch pedestal at least 1.22 meters, 4 feet, off the ground floor in containment cell block, redacted. Object is not to be contained in areas exceeding 3.66 by 3.05 meters, 12 by 10 feet, nor placed on mahogany, pine, cherry, or aluminum pedestals above or below level 1 of containment cell block, redacted. Object can be handled safely, albeit gently, without consequences. Tests and consequences thereof involving containment conditions can be viewed in section B35-1 of the attached report. Description: Object was found on the shore of the Red Sea, 30th of January 1968, emitting a low sigh and a dim blue gleam. Its color has since turned into an orange mix of red only emitting a hum of varying volume, whilst in the presence of female examiners of ages between 34 and 41. SCP-093 resembled the documented blue for 5434 at 123 on 26th of April 1986, coincidentally when the body of 194 9834 was discovered in research facility, redacted. Ties between 194 9834 and SCP-093 remain inconclusive, and effects of prolonged exposure to 093 remain unknown except for infrequent reports of periods of calmness and, in the case of 242-0049, as periodic waves of depression, loss of balance, and thoughts of suicide. These feelings have reportedly not exceeded 11 days in duration. Objects seem to react to the presence of 242-0056 by turning light violet for no more than 2 minutes 9 seconds, as documented on 12th of March 1993. Effects of this reaction remain unknown. Additional notes: Origins of 093 remain unknown, and documents of recovery of 093 have since been destroyed in a fire in research facility, redacted, on the 9th of December 1989. Reports on the feelings of the researchers who handled 093 have remained inconsequential since the 19th of April 1995. Would you like to do the T1 containment test?
Sure. SCP-0393-T1 Containment Test. Testing of SCP-093 against conditions set forth for existing containment procedures to assess viability of continuing such containment. Beginning with changing the type of mirror used as a position of rest. Mirrored surface, brass frame, retail grade mirror. SCP-093 rests without activity when placed on the mirror. This test alone removes the need for costly silver or wooden containment systems. Standard grade table. SCP-093 turns upright and begins to roll across the table surface in one direction, making a U-turn and rolling to the other, completing an oval shape and repeating this action until a mirror is brought into the vicinity of it, at which time SCP-093 rolls towards the mirror and lays flatways against it, sliding toward the center. It is noted that despite the grainy feel of SCP-093, it does not mark the mirror in any fashion while moving across it. 2 mirrors at either end of a standard gray table. SCP-093 gravitates toward the closer mirror regardless of orientation and makes no distinction between the different types of mirrors, favoring a factor of distance above all else in choosing the mirror to move to. A mirror held by a person and moved around. SCP-093 moves the mirror as it moves, gaining speed until a maximum velocity of redacted is reached. At any velocity, the impact of SCP-093 against a mirrored surface results in no damage to either object. A person holding SCP-093 placing it on a mirror. This test was accidental, the result of one of the staff tripping another after some debate about who would be covering the lunch tab. As a result of the behavior of the researchers, it was discovered that a person holding SCP-093 and placing it against a mirror will in fact move into the mirror. Addendum. Containment testing discontinued after establishing that SCP-093 requires only a mirror to rest inert. Testing on human interaction with mirrors while holding SCP-093 authorized by Dr. Redacted.
SCP-093-T2 Mirror Test. Testing Protocols. Subjects testing SCP-093 must wear a Class 3 buckle harness strapped to the chest and attached to a tension pulley system, allowing for 300 meters around 1,000 feet of movement. Additional spools may be added to extend movement if necessary. The clasps connecting these spools must be high grade and capable of withstanding applied force of 0.2 tons. A field kit containing the following should be standard issue for testing of SCP-093. 1 wrist-mounted light source with 3 hours lifespan and additional power sources providing up to 6 additional hours. 4 0.5 liter water bottles with water. 4 MREs of any type, plus 2 plain granola bars, chocolate chips allowed. 1 standard issue Beretta 9mm firearm with 24 rounds of ammunition, loaded. This is not to be issued until subject has passed into mirror using SCP-093 and should be given under armed supervision, ensuring that the subject passed through entirely. This item is to be requisitioned first upon subject's return, and subject to be made aware of this before leaving line of sight within SCP-093's mirror. 1 standard issue field knife. The subject is not to be made aware of this item and must find it on his own within the kit. The subject must also be attached to a video system with a camera mounted on the subject's head or shoulders. The video device should be cable-based and allow for the same length of travel as the return system. Wireless cameras have shown mixed results and should only be used in testing conditions where SCP-093 is a currently known color. New colors must be tested using wired feed. During testing, the color of SCP-093 must be recorded, as well as history of the subject in terms of their Incarceration to identify how SCP-093 determines the color to assume. A link appears to be connected to guilt or lack thereof in the subject's psyche. The attached test results should be read in order. Alright, so we're on to SCP-093 Blue Test. Would you like to begin? And we'll go 3 paragraphs each.
Okay. Mirror test 1. Color blue. Subject is D-20384, male, 34 years of age, strong physique. Subject's background shows instance of murder and attempted suicide. Subject is cooperative in all steps of testing. Subject entered the provided mirror while holding SCP-093, which emitted a blue color. Outside technicians observed that the mirror detained a true reflection until subject had completely passed into it, at which time the view changed to an outdoor landscape, heavily tinged in blue. Video feed allows and follows in attached media. Camera activates, flickers to view. Subject is looking out over the same field reported by technicians. Looks like typical lowland plains. Everything has a heavy blue tinge overlapping normal colors. No discernible landmarks visible as subject pans view left to right. Only grass, weeds, and a breeze moving through the taller grass. No trees, no living beings visible. Subject moves forward as instructed, traveling for approximately 500 steps before something becomes visible. A patch of the land up ahead is barren and grass can be seen dying as subject approaches it. Approximately 300 steps forward, subject is standing before a hole in the ground. The hole has been dug using unknown tools of primitive origin.
Pulley system engaged, and the camera suffers a light shudder. Subject is instructed to enter the hole, and after mild protesting agrees to do so. There is no apparent method of descent, such as a ladder or rope. Subject relies entirely on his own hands and the pulley system to slow the descent. Approximately 100 meters of cable is used before a bottom is reached. Light source provided in field kit activated 50 meters down when outside sources become unreliable. Sweeping gestures of the light reveal nothing more than dirt even at the bottom of the hole. Subject moves forward with assistance of light source. Asked about the blue tinge, subject expresses confusion and says there is no such tinge from his perspective. It never was. Light is visible down the passage and 150 meters of cable has been used. Out of the camera's eye, sound is recorded of the firearm being prepared. When questioned about these actions, subject states justified precaution and moves forward. The tunnel turns from bare dirt to a concrete enclosure. Subject complains of a stench. The light source is revealed to be ceiling light fixtures, a series of which with less than a quarter broken while the others function. A series of 6 doors, 3 to a side, span before the camera, with a 7th door visible at the end of the corridor that has been blocked by what looks like a generic metal shelving debris. Debris shows signs of rusting and is typical of retail store units, suggesting other human presences.
I'm sorry, where we leave off? I got distracted for a second.
Subject requested to try doors.
Subject requested to try doors in whatever order he chooses. Subject tries first door on right. Door is locked, does not open. Second door tries to open but does not budge. Unlocked but blocked. Closing second door. Third door is tried. Same results as first. Going up to the other side, the third door does open fully and light is bright in the room. Portable light switched off at this time as subject pans camera to inspect room. Room is bare with no contents, but the walls are filthy. Subject states material on walls isn't dirt, but he can identify it. Seems to resemble melted plastic, but is brown in color rather than black. Door is closed. Second door on left side has no handle, does not move when pushed. The hole where the handle was plugged by unknown material. All doors are shaped in such a way that nothing can visibly escape from the sides and space for movement is too thin to look through, even at ground level. First door on left hand is blocked, but part of key is present in lock from stems to the ridges. The back has been broken off. With effort, subject manipulates key to open door and immediately begins coughing, complaining of a stench. Walls of room are clean as is floor. Ceiling is coated in the same strange brown material as the third room. In this room there is a makeshift cot made from aged blankets with a pillow, a wooden crate containing open boxes of what appears to have been foodstuffs. Language appears on video as squiggles. However, subject states they simply read cereal. A second crate in the room contains what appears to be empty water bottles that have dried out. A book lays next to the cot, closed, no title or identifying marks.
On the wall is what appears to be clipped articles, but language cannot be read. Subject asked to remove clippings for retrieval. All articles but one crumble at the touch due to age. The intact article is put in a field sample container and seems the most recent compared to the others. Asked to investigate the book, subject begins to move toward it. Audio on the tape goes strange, and a high-pitched screeching noise, like grinding metal, dominates all communication for 3.5 seconds. Subject has not touched the book still, and when the noise stops, subject asks Control to repeat requests. Control made no requests during that time as headsets were removed. Subject advised to leave room and notes that the door has begun closing slowly on its own, and if left alone, will close. Subject advised to leave door alone and to investigate door on right. Careful review of the following 10 seconds of tape shows that as the camera pans, a figure is visible at the end of the tunnel where the seventh door is. The door is open only enough for a face to be seen through a crack just before the door silently closes. No details can be seen.
Subject investigates the second door on the right with no mention of anything seen out of the ordinary. This door, when pushed against, moves, and after repeated bashings, moves enough to view inside at an angle. A corkboard is visible with some articles attached to it. The top of a box of cereal can be seen on the floor, and what appears to be a hand laying palm up. Subject closes door and pans camera past door 7, which remains closed. Seeing nowhere else to explore, subject requests to return. Subject poses no protest and complains of ever-increasing stench. As subject returns back down tunnel, his camera feed does not change or show anomaly. The control reports a sudden surge of cable movement, pulling an additional 100 meter of cable through before going slack again and then tightening. Video feed shows subject ascending the tunnel slowly, while control attempts to verify integrity of the pulley system. Subject requested to stop ascent, but states he is not climbing, the rope is pulling him up. Panic sets in on both sides and subject is informed to ready firearm. Upon reaching top of hole, nothing is visible on camera and subject reports nothing as has changed in landscape. Then begins a return trip following the path of a cable. Traveling for approximately 900 steps, subject asks how much cable he has used. Control admits they are unsure due to complications, but subject traveled in a straight line to reach the hole, so it should have been a straight line back. Subject becomes concerned when he states that more cable is visible now, moving in a 90-degree angle away from a point in the ground.
Subject pans camera around full circle slowly. On film, behind subject, a crowd of 73 countable figures stand silently. Features are unidentifiable as they are lacking the blue tinge that dominates the landscape. Panic breaks in control. Again, but subject notes only oddity as being the cable having an angled path. Subject tugs his end of the cable. It is taut and does not move. Control begins to reel in the pulley system, and slack rapidly winds. Watching the angled cable movement can be seen as grass is disturbed further down the angled portion from the reeling in. Then the line vibrates as it meets resistance and emits a twang from the recoil. Subject's camera pans back along length of cable, which now appears to slowly be allowing more slack before suddenly all slack is returned and pulley system begins again. Control requests subject return following cable path, and screams are caught on the audio with panic from subject. 5 shots fired as subject aims pistol at something not visible on camera. Control reports being able to see subject returning toward point of origin, while camera shows wire disappearing into a point floating in the air. As subject passes this point, all cable is now in the pulley system, and camera films only the floor. Control reports that the mirror took approximately 5 seconds to return to a reflection, and SCP-093 remained blue in color until 1 hour after being recovered from subject. A vile-smelling fluid was present on subject's clothes around his hands when firearm was recovered. The fluid dried quickly and was deemed insignificant of study due to lack of quality sample. Control personnel monitoring the mirror state having seen a massive human being crawling on the ground, easily 50 times the size of a normal person, with no facial features and a very short arm reach, pulling itself toward the mirror before it returned to a reflection. Due to proximity, fine details could not be made out, but at least one observer noted the being appeared to have been shot from the marks in the otherwise smooth, featureless face. Field test kit recovered from subject containing a newspaper article that reads, "Data expunged," as well as the item, "Data expunged." The next test is classified as the green test. And if you'd like to start this one as well.
How many are there?
How many?
How many tests?
Let me see. 3 after this one.
Should we read them all?
Yep.
Alright. Mirror test 2. Color green. Subject is D-54493. Female. 23 years of age. Average physique. Subject's background shows instance of grand theft auto and second-degree murder of 2 children during escape with vehicle. Subject is cooperative in all steps of testing. Subject entered the provided mirror while holding SCP-093, which emitted a green color. Outside technicians observed that the mirror retained a true reflection until subject had completely passed into it, at which time the view changed to a farming landscape, heavily tinged in green, similar to the first test. Video feed follows in attached media. Camera activates, flickers into view. Subject is looking out over the same farmland reported by technicians. All green through video feeds are deeper, and green tinge overlays the normal colors of objects similar to the blue tinge in Test 1. No landmarks from Test 1 are discernible as subject pans camera over area. Present is a field, long abandoned, in the middle of which stands the remains of a scarecrow of unknown design. Fragments left are rotted and torn. Nothing grows in the tilled land. A farmhouse is visible to the right of the field, large, 2 stories. A basement shelter entrance is visible at one end. Subject prepares her sidearm immediately and is asked by control to relax before proceeding, her heavy breathing dominating the audio feed.
Subject takes a few minutes and announces that she's fine, then proceeds as directed to walk the perimeter of the farmhouse. Children's bicycles, 2, a boy's and girls, lay against the house near the shelter doors. One of the doors to the shelter lay in the grass, torn from the entrance as evidenced by splintering wood. On the stairs lay clothes arranged in a descending order, shoes to shirt going down them, belonging to a boy. Subject begins screaming at Control, asking if this is some sort of sick joke. Control assures her they have never seen this environment either, and to please calm down. Subject takes several minutes to regain herself before continuing. It is unknown if SCP-093 is linking the subject's past with her landscape. After several minutes, subject agrees to continue. Communication to subject is muted, and conversation of Control making commentary about subject's jittery attitude make up audio for 1.5 minutes. Communication restored as subject reaches bottom of stairs. The cellar of the farmhouse is unremarkable and typical. Several wooden shelves line the far wall containing unidentified canned substances. Broken light fixtures sway gently from support beams. Cameras panned across the basement slowly. No evidence of footprints are visible, and the basement can be assumed to have been abandoned for some time. Subject begins to comment about a stench. As subject pans, the area metal hatch is visible in the ground, similar to a bulkhead on a submarine with a turn handle. Subject remarks that the smell is at its worst around the hatch, and the dirt around the hatch is noted as being clumped and clay-like. The handle of the hatch is old, and the paint is chipped. Subject coerced into turning the handle, which, when fully turned, opens the hatch. Subject begins coughing at the release of assumed old, stale air. When the camera is tilted to view down the hatch, it is a white concrete tunnel similar to the one found in the Blue experiment, but in much better condition. Subject asked to descend ladder and close hatch behind her.
After convincing, subject agrees to descend but does not close the hatch. Overlooked concerns about severing the pulley return system in doing so are acknowledged. Descent down the ladder and trip to the farmhouse are consumed approximately 53 meters of cable when bottom is reached. The inside of the hatch appears to be a bunker ill-suited to long-term usage. It is spacious, half the size of an actual cellar itself, containing 3 bunks, 1 for a couple and 2 for single use. Several boxes of food similar to those found during Blue, marked as cereal, fill a waste container near the hatch bottom. On the beds are 2 skeletons, on the floor is a third, lying next to which is a simple 6-shooter revolver containing no ammunition. 3 spent casings are across the floor near the gun. On the other side of this skeleton is a bound book in good condition. This is retrieved and placed into a field kit container upon request. The gun is left alone per request from Control. Subject examines more of the bunker, focusing on a desk where a newspaper has been cut and is in good condition. The clipped articles are recovered using a field kit container. Little else of interest to be brought back is in the bunker as the camera is panned around. Trash bags containing clothing, a few children's toys resembling popular 1950s era products are lined against the wall.
Subject is requested to leave the bunker, and then sharply asked to wait by a control technician, who directs the camera view to an area near the exiting doorway to the hatch. Closer inspection as subject moves in finds that a small area has been fitted with what appears to be an Ethernet jack, the cover of which has been forced slightly away from the wall by a strange amber-like substance. Subject refuses to touch or collect a sample, commenting that it stinks so bad that if they want it they can come get it themselves. Control declines and subject leaves bunker. As subject grips ladder to leave, the camera pans up for a moment, and at the top of the tunnel a humanoid figure is seen peering down. Control asks subject to confirm figure. Subject states nothing is up there and begins to climb. Figure draws out of camera view after first rung is touched by subject, who ascends without incident. At the top of the tunnel, no other life is seen. Nothing has been disturbed. Subject insists nothing was there and closes the hatch, then immediately vomits. Subject coughs and uses a supplied water bottle to gargle, then freezes and asks if Control is hearing that. Control reports no audio. Subject approaches cellar hatch cautiously with firearm drawn and lifts her head just enough so camera can view outside area. In the distance, approximately 700 meters from the farm, two massive humanoid beings are crawling across the landscape. The entities do not notice the subject, who remains quiet, but whose drawn sidearm is visibly trembling.
Subject requested to remain still and silent as beings move. They are featureless, facing at an angle, moving across the field of vision so the faces are not only visible for a few moments. During this time, it is clear they have no facial features. The arms they use to drag themselves are short at times and long at others, stretching out to varying lengths each time they move. There is no rear area to the beings. All bodily designs appear to end at the torso. The two creatures take approximately 10 minutes to disappear into the distance before the subject begins to panic and begs to return. Request declined. Subject instructed to enter the home from the cellar and not to leave the home under any circumstances. The first door is entered through a hatch in the ceiling / floor that opens with rusty creaks that cause subject to pause for 37 seconds before continuing upward and entering a kitchen. A heavy layer of dust coats all items in the kitchen. The refrigerator is left open. All food is spoiled. Adjacent the kitchen is a living area that subject enters slowly. There is a recliner, couch, and television, all of 1950s style design. In the recliner is a laptop whose case also resembles 1950s decor and is coated in heavy dust. Opening the laptop reveals the last moments of its operating system, Faithful OS, leaving a standby mode and immediately shutting off. Laptop has no external power source and will not power back on. When asked to recover laptop, it brings the cushion of the recliner with it, the two stuck together. Subject advised to leave laptop where it is. The inside door leaving the home is nailed shut and with thick wood planks. No attempt made to interact with these. Camera view pans to a staircase leading upstairs. Subject ascends the stairs without being asked, and the stairs remain silent to control surprise. When subject reaches top of stairs, a hallway with two doors is viewed, one on each side. At the end of the hall is a dumbwaiter is inlaid into the wall.
Subject opens door on left on her own, which opens to a master bedroom. The bed is neatly made, but the wardrobe next to it is thrown open, and clothes are everywhere on the floor. Subject finds laid out on the bed several pieces of jewelry and is informed to leave them. Subject begins to protest, then comments they stink and leaves them alone, promptly leaving room. Subject asks to open second door. The second door opens and gives a view of a shared children's bedroom, obviously boy and girl given the types of toys and clothes scattered on the floor. There is also a window which subject approaches and wipes with a curtain to clear dust. Subject requested to move camera to window and does so. The farmland is visible, and approximately 40 kilometers from it at best guess, a city. As the camera starts to draw back, it pans down and films the area around the house. Approximately 300 figures, similar to those from the footage captured during Blue Test, are visible around the home, all staring up. Subject asked to confirm figures, but states nothing is there. Subject requested to return and quickly agrees. Egress from the house is uneventful. Pulley system shows no erratic behavior. As subject returns to point of pulley wire's origin, a loud groaning noise causes the picture to reverberate. Technicians at control report they were able to hear the noise and experience the vibration. Subject returns through point of origin without investigation, and mirror returns to reflective surface. SCP-093 relinquished. Video ends. Newspaper fragments filed as redacted. The next test is classified as the Violet test.
Mirror test 3. Color violet. Subject is D-849030. Male. 21 years of age. Average physique. Subject's background shows instance of second-degree murder of a police officer during a drug bust. Normally, this crime, while severe, would not qualify a person for a sentence that would end up with us, but the murder of the officer was especially brutal and excessive violence was used. This subject was uncooperative and had to be reminded that his cooperation would only benefit him. Subject entered the provided mirror while holding SCP-093, which emitted a violet color. Outside technicians observed that the mirror retained a true reflection until subject had completely passed into it, at which time the view changed to a cityscape, urban, lightly tinged in purple, similar to first test. Video feed follows in attached media. Camera flickers to life and pans around the area. Subject is in what appears to be a modern downtown district similar to a city like New York. The streets are mostly bare except for a few cars of unknown make or model. These cars look highly advanced and streamlined. Subject attempts to look into the car windows without being instructed to, but backs away, remarking there is a rank-ass stank coming from the areas around most of them. Subject is persuaded to move closer to one car and does so with coughing, wiping off a window which is covered in dirt. The inside of the car appears to be completely filled with a strange brown matter. There is nothing at all visible other than the brown matter. 2 other cars produce the same results. However, a 4th vehicle seems more recent than the others, and the insides are immaculate. The doors to this vehicle are also unlocked and subject quickly gets inside, then shuts the doors. Subject is chastised for this behavior by control, and remind him his lifeline is nothing more than a cable, which is sturdy enough that closing the car door does not injure it, but they cannot recover a person in motion.
Subject argues with control over this issue and pans the camera across the dashboard, pointing out he couldn't drive away even if he tried. The dashboard is void of any recognizable controls, no ignition, no steering. It has several small blank screens that are theorized to be a GPS system. Subject remains in the car while Control discusses how to proceed, since the city landscape is far larger than the previous test destinations. Control debates this issue while Subject stares around the cityscape from the car. During one pan, a face is clearly seen staring into the car, eyes watching the subject. However, this was not noticed until post-test footage review. Subject made no comment regarding this entity at any point. Control shortly after informs Subject to remain where he is, and an escort team is dispatched through the mirror to join him. A team of 4 armed personnel is sent through the mirror and proceeds to Subject's location. Subject is then instructed to remove his harness, which is recovered. The subject's video feed then ends and is replaced by a wireless unit used by the escort team. The video quality on this unit is subject to more interference, but in order to mark the mirror exit, a receiver system is placed through the mirror.
Subject leaves the car and now travels with the escort team. Given the myriad of possible options, they are instructed to simply move to the closest building and attempt to enter it. This building has etched glass doors bearing the name XEA Research Partners Incorporated, and the doors are ajar. A magnetic lock system is present, but has lost power. Team enters the building and main lobby. This area resembles a stereotypical corporate lobby. There is a C-shaped receptionist desk with a chair pushed far from it as if it was left in a hurry. A PC terminal is at the desk as well. Teams approach the desk and the camera bearer is instructed to examine the PC. The unit does appear to have power and Faithful OS appears on the screen requesting a login and password. A keyboard is present but is remarkably slim with touch-sensitive keys rather than press-down keys. This one failed attempt, the lock screen replies that maximum attempts have been exceeded, and the PC turns off. No actual tower or power button can be located, so team moves forward. Behind the receptionist's desk are 2 elevator doors, one to the left, one to the right, with similar touch sense keys. The elevator on the left is broken, the door open and the shaft empty. The elevator on the right appears functional and has power. Without a clear destination, the team is instructed to proceed to the highest floor to get a lay of the city. All floor appears to be accessible, with the highest being 114. In reality, 112 as 13 and 113 are missing from the keypad. Journey up the elevator is uneventful during this time. The elevator does appear to take longer as it passes by 13 and then 113, suggesting that the entire floor was built and nothing put on it. At 114, the doors open and team enters a large lounge-type area. There are many couches with dust on them. A widescreen, apparently LCD TV, as approximately 60 plus inches in size, dominates the wall in front of them with no power. A series of windows are open, allowing in sunlight at the far end, in which the team proceeds and angles the camera outside.
The view of the city is astonishing. This building is one of the tallest visible, but certainly not alone in its stature. The city below is gray and silent, no evidence of life at this altitude. Some buildings in the city have a strange brown growth that appears to have been splashed against them, as if a gelatinous mass was flung and then seeped down before hardening. Other buildings have floors where the glass has been shattered, and the same brown substances seeping out the edges. One member of the team calls the camera bearer to the windows on the other side. From the other side of the building, the city edges can be seen. Attention is pointed toward an expressway that encircles the city, upon which crawls another of the large half-body humanoids, dragging itself with its elastic arms, as witnessed in previous tests. It travels the highway, then moves out of sight. The team returns to the elevator and notes that a button has already been activated for floor 74. No one has approached the elevator, so the team agrees to travel to this floor. On the 74th floor, the doors open and reveal a waiting area to what appears to be a doctor's office. At the reception desk, there is a sign-in sheet with a series of names and dates. The dates on the sign-in sheet all carry the year 1953. A PC at the receptionist area is on and functioning at a user desktop. The background for the PC is a large set of praying hands with the word Faithful OS under them. On the desktop are a series of folders with years on them containing files that, when clicking, using the center button of the mouse, open to a Word viewer. All files appear to be appointment information.
On the desk is a notepad titled, "From the Desk of Dr." Alright, breaking character for a minute. How the fuck do I pronounce that?
Borisijki.
Borisivsky? Is that what you're saying?
Borisijki.
Borisivsky. Blessed Purificationist. The door to the doctor's area is sketched with the same name and title, as well as the crucifix. Opening this door leads to a white dust-free hallway that has 2 examination rooms and a key-coded door at the end. The examination rooms are unremarkable and typical of any doctor's office. All medicine cabinets are empty. A small amount of C4 is placed at the lock to the key-coded door at the request of control and then blown, forcing the door open. The area it opens into is much larger than the reception area itself, and seems to contain a series of large containment capsules. There are a total of 6 of these capsules. 2 are broken, and a brownish amber material coats the floor coming from them. 1 is empty. The last 3 have nude humans floating in them with breathing masks. Attached to the front of these tubes are medical charts showing vital signs and conditions. For symptoms, the charts explain in somewhat awkward English ailments that seem more like flaws of personality or character, or just incidents that have occurred with the patient. Control asks for a zoom of one of the patient pages on the chart. After focusing, it reads, Citizen Jennifer McZerka did suffer a lapse of the heart that did lead her to lay with her neighbor twice upon nights of her husband's departure from their home. Patient did submit herself into the Lord's and our hands for cleansing of mind and body. Prayer administered by High Father. Oh, what the fuck are these names? Uwelican. And patient submitted to a 3-day period in the Lord's tears to cleanse our system and then released in good spirits.
The topmost page reads, Citizen Alberius Farafan struck out at a high father during a sermon, blaspheming that the Lord's tears did turn his daughter to be unright in mind and heart, thusly laying blame for her whorish activities at the feet of the High Father and his blessing. With no proof of these blasphemies, the forgiving judge and the punishing judge did agree that Alberius Farafan should bathe in the Lord's tears himself for a week to be cleansed of mind and soul, thus to prove his daughter's ways are fault of not the Father's hands, and to give him peace of self. Subject, who has been traveling quietly with the escort team, now begins to panic. The camera pans to focus on him, and he is surrounded by entities similar to those witnessed in the first 2 tests. Escort team reports in that subject is having a panic attack, but control requests them to stand still and wait. Subject screams at the entities, which are denied to exist by the team commander, stating subject is alone in the corner. Control requests that one team member be dispatched to approach and recover the subject. The escort team member approaches the subject as ordered. On the video, the figures part to make a pathway for the approaching member, who lifts subject to his feet and brings him out of the corner. Figures on video are then seen closing ranks to close the path. Subject is lifted to his feet by an arm and escorted through the figures that close their ranks when the subject is moved. They remain steadfastly staring at the subject no matter where he moves to. Control requests the team to return now. Team turns to leave. Before leaving, a team member mentions something noticed at the reception desk, a binder labeled The Lord's Tears. Control requests binder be returned as well, and it is stowed into subject's field kit. The team returns to the elevator and returns to the ground floor. Upon leaving the building, subject points down the street toward direction of entry point. The camera pans to a section of raised expressway across which one of the large torsos is crawling slowly. The entity turns its featureless head to look at the escort team, raises its head to the sky, and emits a bellowing sound. Team leader issues the order to move, heading for the spot marked by the wireless video receiver. The creature on the expressway extends an arm down that stretches to touch the ground before the camera moves to the port. All team members save one move through entry point. Subject moves through entry point and mirror returns to reflective surface.
SCP-093 is dropped by subject who panics and tries to fight his way out of the room. Subject is terminated by team leader after he draws the field kit pistol. Team leader requests portal to be reopened, but it takes several minutes to find someone who can hold SCP-093 and generate a similar color. When a matching color is displayed and applied to the mirror, the video receiver is visible and all individuals report a horrific smell. Team leader moves through the entryway with control person redacted. The uniform and positions of the escort team member who was left behind are present and recovered, but the member himself is nowhere to be seen and does not respond to shouts. Member assumed KIA and wireless receiver recovered. Control and escort return through entry point and mirror returns to reflective surface. Later review of the recovered camera shows escort member redacted, grasping at the air where every entry point should be, and then turning to look up at the oversized torso. A brown gel seems to drip off the creature as it moves that disappears shortly after being dislodged, as if evaporating. Several shots are fired at the creature's face, with the automatic weapon carried by redacted, that land in the face of the creature, causing a spray of less vicious brown liquid to pour forth from the wounds. Redacted, screams obscenities as the face of the creature descends upon him and the camera is pushed to the ground. Camera feed remains dark for approximately 65 seconds before light comes back. The camera films the creature crawling back to the expressway and pulling itself onto it, then crawling in the direction it was originally headed. Redacted, believed to have been absorbed by the creature and perhaps digested. This may have been an example of how these unknown entities feed by direct contact with living material. Further study is recommended to be avoided on this issue. Return ledger filed as redacted.
The next test is classified as the yellow test. Mirror test 4. Color, yellow. D-class subjects no longer authorized for testing. Testing focus has been shifted to data collection after analyzing the articles brought back from the previous 3 tests to better understand the fate of the world accessed by SCP-093 and determine if safeguards or practices are required for our own world. Analysis of the brown fluid on the clothing of the lost escort team member, redacted, has been filed with other recovered articles. Dr. redacted, has volunteered for this test as, out of the possible candidates, he was able to cause SCP-093 to undergo a new color change. There is no evidence in Dr. redacted's background of any illegal or criminal behavior, nor of any psychological problems. When presented to the mirror, the view changed to that of a cubicle office environment. For this test, Dr. redacted opted to use the wireless video system and forgo the pulley return system, stating he was confident he would be safe and none of the torso creatures have been witnessed within a building where the mirror's destination showed. Video feed commences after Doctor has crossed the mirror. As with prior tests, SCP-093's current color, yellow, touches all video material.
Camera flickers to life and pans across a series of plain white cubicle constructs. Approximately 30 are visible. At the far end from the point of entry is an office module built into the wall with frosted glass walls and a glass door. Dr. redacted, approaches this door and investigates the etched writing on it. Senior Manager, Stanley Millimitz. The door is unlocked. Dr. redacted, enters the office and examines the desk. A coffee cup is on the desk, a dark brown stain covering half of the inside as the liquid evaporated. There is a donut on a plate which Dr. redacted picks up and lobs at the wall. On impact, it thumps like a rock and falls. A file cabinet in the corner of the room draws Dr. redacted's attention, and he goes through each shelf one at a time, stopping in the second drawer and taking out a file, then going back to the first and taking out 2 others. Continuing to the third and fourth drawers, he withdraws 4 additional files and spreads them out all on the desk. The files are blue filing folders, and he points with his finger and camera at a symbol of each of praying hands, stating aloud for the camera that all other files are stored in yellow folders. The blue folders are placed in his field kit. Camera attention is turned to the PC on the desk that is logged in and functional. Dr. redacted comments aloud, wondering where these devices are getting their power from, as he has noticed no power outlets. This PC's desktop contains the logo of Faithful OS, and even has sounds, clicks of the mouse followed by soft hymn-like hums, and opening of icons followed by angelic bells. The PC fails to yield any useful information to Dr. redacted, who abandons it and leaves the office.
Approaching the other end of the office floor, Doctor presses a button on the wall for the elevator and enters, finding he is on the 34th floor of a building having an unusual number scheme. The keypad layout goes from -115 to 115, and includes all floors. Before pressing a floor button, Doctor requests that the wireless video transponder be moved to the elevator and placed in with a construction cone to mark the entry point. A second transponder unit is placed outside the elevator, and Control is instructed to recover the second unit and seal the test chamber should something happen to him. Then, when all is arranged, he presses the button for floor -115. The descent down the elevator is long, consuming 15 minutes. During this time, the camera experiences one malfunction, where the image jerks and turns to snow, restoring to show 14 other figures in the elevator with Doctor, as video pans around, all of whom move as he moves to allow him space. They remain for 35 seconds, then the camera flickers to snow and returns. Doctor is now alone in the elevator, dancing as is assumed by the ducks and sways of the video feed. Doctor pauses to comment on a rising stench coming from below. At this point, the elevator has reached floor -108. Doctor presses -110 to interrupt the descent down and exits when that floor is reached. The elevator doors open to an enclosed observation deck with several PCs and chairs. All PCs appear to have power. The ceiling to this deck is also glass, and above it is another deck is visible. Doctor approaches the monitoring stations and checks one of the PC flat screens. Hello, Kay. Glad you can join us.
On the screen is the Faithful OS logo and a video feed toggling between 4 different views. The first view is a room of tubes similar to those found in Test Violet, which number in the thousands. The second view is a closer-up view of these tubes as a camera glides in front of each to monitor the contents. All tubes the camera passes by are broken. The third view is facing the opposite direction as a camera glides vertically, checking each observation station. A total of 10 can be counted, and Dr. Redacted is visible as the camera passes by his own station. Looking up, a hovering camera unit with no visible means of propulsion glides up past him. The fourth view shows the ground floor below the observation deck where a single astonishing large torso being is crawling in circles, bumping into walls and changing directions. From the camera feed, the creature's estimated size is 6 stories. Returning attention to the contents of the PC, Dr. Redacted moves the video log aside to see a simple text editor that was hidden behind it. A printout of this text was recovered and filed in the field kit. The printout directed Dr. Redacted to a safe on floor 54 and provided a combination. Dr. Redacted leaves the observation deck and proceeds to 54 without event, arriving on a cubicle office floor. He proceeds to the desk mentioned in the document and finds a safe hidden beneath that desk undisturbed. The combination provided opens the safe and reveals a notebook, filed in the field kit, and a peculiar revolver that has been returned as redacted, in addition to the 24 rounds of ammo found with it. Dr. Redacted proceeds back to the elevator without event and returns to 34. Given the sheer number of floors available to explore and the vital information obtained from the observation deck, the test is considered over and equipment is retrieved. Before returning through the entry point, Dr. Redacted investigates a terminal nearby that has power and finds it shows the exact same screen as the one on dash 110 shows. It is theorized that the author of the note installed a network virus to propagate it through the building so any PC on that network would be found and the information discovered.
Doctor returns through the entry point and the mirror returns to a reflective surface. All materials filed with other SCP-093 recovered materials. Analysis of redacted redacted, and the ammunition for it postponed for reason that would require deconstruction of one of the rounds, and they may be beneficial until testing of SCP-093 is resolved. Video ends. The next test is classified as the red test. SCP-093 Mirror Test 5. Color red. SCP-093 distributed among staff until a new color could be generated by contact with it. Service Technician, redacted, was able to cause SCP-093 to take on a fierce red hue and glow, much brighter than the object's normal color. Redacted, agreed to assist with a test of SCP-093. Per Dr. Redacted's request, redacted serial number given to technician, redacted, for use in this test. When applied to the mirror for the test, SCP-093 generates an unknown environment. No color tinge appears present on the displayed destination, which is comprised of red stonework. Technician, redacted, enters the mirror, and video capture begins.
Video flickers to life and technician, redacted, known hereafter as subject, is viewing a large cylindrical pillar that is rotting on its own. Object is of unknown height and appears to be 1.8 meters, 6 feet in width. Holes are distributed throughout the object at seemingly random intervals. On occasion, a beam of white light is emitted from these holes. Turning of the camera finds that the beams are connected with a multitude of objects similar to SCP-093 that are part of the room's wall. The room turns out to also be cylindrical in shape with countless copies of SCP-093. Subject turns back to entry point and finds it is a section of the wall that is missing its copy of SCP-093, presumably the one carried with subject. Other sections of the wall on inspection are also found to be missing their copies, leading to speculation that this may be some sort of central array. Subject finds a ladder in the floor while examining the room and proceeds down it at Control's request. The ladder exits into a large clean room full of computer equipment that appears antiquated compared to previously encountered equipment. Large computers running on reel-to-reels are clicking and spinning at various locations. A light bulb of unknown meaning turns on for 10 seconds, then turns off. A large CRT monitor is displaying single words in 8 colors at roughly 5-second intervals. While observed, the words clean, unclean, clean, clean, lost, unclean flash on the screen.
Proceeding through the room, it ends in a large glass window as another observation deck. The stalk looks out over another series of tubes as witnessed before, but far fewer and filled with a blue liquid. What appears to be electrical current dances over many of the tubes at erratic intervals. At least 5 tubes at first glance are empty and broken. At the observation window, a keyboard is present on a pedestal, awaiting a selection to be made. The options available on the screen are tube status, which waits for a numerical input, reports, situation X-549, situation X-550, evacuation log, bullshit, agent number redacted, report, and facility fire plan. Video expunged. All sections that generated text were transcribed by subject and verified by a control member who passed through the portal to recover them. This process took approximately 2 hours, and video feed was deleted to condense this report. Recorded documents are filed as redacted serial number. Video interrupted. Control lost contact with subject approximately 30 minutes after departure of control tech. Subject was asked to remain in area and observe the machinery and the containment room to make observations for debriefing. The SCP-093 mirror portal returned to a reflective surface prematurely, and all video contact with subject was lost. Control was unable to re-establish due to SCP-093 being across the mirror. A time lapse of 1 minute and 48 seconds was recorded before a mirror portal re-established itself and subject returned through portal. Subject appeared to be in good health and condition despite the time loss, but spoke little. During immediate debriefing, subject underwent sudden convulsions and medical staff was alerted. While attempting to subdue subject, he displayed enhanced strength and used redacted to shoot one of the debriefing staff, killing them. Guard shot subject once in the sidearm, with a sidearm in the heart, and once in the chest, but subject did not fall. All staff evacuated room, and a second shot was fired by subject, which missed. A more heavily armed team entered debriefing room and used automatic weapons to dispatch subject. Reports confirmed that subject did not bleed when shot, but instead leaked a green/brown substance that seemed to be a mix of solution observed in some containment tubes and the material recovered during Test 3. All further SCP-093 tests have been discontinued, while review of materials recovered is in effect. A secondary tape recording device was found to have activated in the field kit after loss of video, and its contents have been filed with other recovered materials. All recovered materials from SCP-093 testing are Level 4 classification. Release must be approved by no fewer than 2 Level 4 personnel. Staff with acceptable clearance, please sign in with Dr. Redacted for access to the materials recovered from SCP-093 tests. And, let's see. Okay, yeah, this is the last bit of it, so we'll just finish this up and then we can get on to the hot beans.
Hooray.
Would you like to begin?
Where are we at? I'm sorry. The materials we covered?
Yes.
Oh, this is long. Okay. Recovered materials. All documents contained in this file are Class 4 clearance requiring 2 signed approvals to access. Any employee reading past this point who does not have proper classification should consider themselves to be terminated from employment and now subject to disciplinary action up to and including forced administration of Class A amnesiac, immediate transfer to Keter Class Security, and death. Blue Test. Newspaper Article 1. Only one item could be recovered during our initial test, and that was a newspaper clipping found attached to a corkboard in an abandoned bunker. Most of the articles were in a state of decay, but one was firm enough for recovery. Most Holy Father announces progress, unclean being cleansed. A rare public address directly from the Most Holy Father of the United Lands of the Sun has declared that the Blessed Militia has driven back many of the unclean who are skulking our lands now. New Rome, our capital, has been purged from the unclean, and citizens are encouraged to come back to their homes. Citizens who live in the surrounding countryside should not return to their farms, as the unclean still roam the fields and plains around our glorious city and continue to grow in size.
The Blessed Militia has developed new weapons which have proven capable of punishing the unclean and driving them back into the unfertile lands. Construction has begun of a system to permanently close the unfertile lands off from our blessed lands in each affected area once all the unclean have been driven away. The Most Holy requests that all citizens of our united lands bow in prayer and offer tithe to recognize the sacrifices of our blessed militia in these troubled times. Reports have been coming in that falsely accuse the blessed militia of having committed sin against the citizens whose homes they were inhabiting as they travel bravely through contaminated lands. The Most Holy would like to remind the people that blasphemy against any who wear his mark is the worst is the most grave of sin, and unfounded accusations will be punished accordingly. We should work to support he and his men, however possible, just as they lay down their lives for us, the sinful rebels who end. Green Test newspaper articles 2, 3, 4, and diary. Our second test recovered many materials that helped to establish a sequence of events for this alternate world. The diary recovered provided a glimpse into the last days of the owners of the home, from which it is recovered and may represent activity in other areas of the world as well.
Newspaper Article 2. Farms surrounding the city of Silver Feathers have reported being unable to contact neighbors across voice or video feeds in the last week. Until an approval is granted by the Regional High Father, an investigation cannot commence, but he assures the people that these events have not escaped his attention. Residents are advised to notify their local Blessed Voice daily, so any further disappearances can be addressed immediately. Residents are also advised to begin stocking their shelters to be ready for any situation. Newspaper Article 3. Following the disappearance of the Blessed Voices from several outlying regions around the city of Silver Feathers, the Regional High Father has declared a concern for safety and livelihood. Under this declaration, all farmland residents must evacuate immediately to their shelters. Scattered reports of an unclean have come in, but have yet to be verified. Do you want me to read the fourth article?
Please.
Newspaper Article 4. The City of Glorious Song has stopped responding to any and all communications. The worst can only be assumed, and our hearts go out to any who are in the region who are unable to hear our words. The City of Silver Feathers Blessed Militia has reported several incursions by the unclean into the city and have exterminated 4 of the abominations before they could become a danger to any residents. The Regional High Father reminds citizens to avoid direct confrontation with the unclean. Conventional arms do nothing to the unclean. Only the most holy of implements will penetrate their sin, so do not put yourself in danger. Any citizens who suspect their neighbors indulging in heavy sin should immediately contact the Blessed Melissa through designated checkpoints.
Diary. Date redacted. I have the distinct feeling we're gonna die, so I'm gonna write this all down now for whoever comes along and finds our bones. My name is Herforth Jackalsiv. Jackalsiv? And I'm a farmer. I grows the rab sticks and the huskiers. We raise the inks and the ooms. It's me, my wife, Ophery, and our 2 little ones, Trevin and Listeria. I got this book in trade from the blessed man who came by for food and shelter. He told us to start getting our shelter ready and not to let no other blessed who comin' by even know we're here. Says the whole thing break down, nothing right no more. So I does as he said, got it all ready. We goin' down there in the next day or so. In the morn he was gone, which made the wife sad as he was polite to us unlike most of the others. Figure he didn't want to do no murder. Liz went out looking for him to be sure he weren't just round the house. Date redacted. He didn't turn up nowhere, so we guess he left. Strange enough, Liz found his clothes round a mile or so away, and all his gear, but no him. So left it all there, and that's for the best if what happened that I think. I'm clearly no educated man, don't claim to be, but I can put 2 and 2 together and tell you that things are bad out there. For everyone, and especially for us 'cause it's comin' way too close. Sometimes you can smell it. That's when we hide. Smells like a leg of meat that's been raw for way too long and just won't go back into the dirt. Even the soil is rejecting 'em, I guess, refusing to let 'em be buried to die. Date redacted. It came. Too fast, we weren't ready. The smell came in the night. Maybe we would have been fine, but the little ones were afraid, so we went to the shelter. Trev was slow. He saw it, kept staring at it as it shambled by. Ignore us until he screamed when I was getting lost in the mist down in the shelter. I went to get him, but it was too fast. I saw him standing up there, screaming, and then its head came down on him, pressed over him. He tried to run for the stairs, tried to get to us, but then in a blink, he was gone and it pulled away. His clothes fell into the cellar like he vanished out of them. I got into the shelter, slammed the hatch and locked it. I think it knows we're here now. I'll try to get in and take us too. No telling how long we got. Plenty of food though. I was wrong. The food was rotten. Something got into it, or I just didn't notice. We're eating what we can. There's food, but not enough, and that thing ain't leaving. It's trying to find ways in. Smelt the smell, coming from the life web plug in the wall. Something seeped through it, and we kept away. It got hard like a rock and don't smell no more. Maybe the power in the plug finally let it die. I went up to peek. Cellar is fine. Trev's clothes still on the stairs. Peeked outside. We're not going to make it. There were 10, 20, 30. Couldn't count. So many. All going in a circle around the house, looking at it with those faceless faces. And the stink. Oh, the stink. Went back into the shelter and locked the door. I think I don't want to see my family rot away. I think faster is better. The miss, she agrees. We won't tell Liz. She'll be first, then my wife, my love, then me. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I gave the best life to my family possible. It was them holy ones what brought this. I'm gonna pen this in memory of my great pap. He was old and knew stories older than himself. Says the unclean they preach about, those unfertile zones they say stay out of, all cause of the most holy bringing the world together. Them things are the ultimate sin. Everything about us that was evil and impure, it's them. They don't know nothing but doing what they do, don't even know why they do it. They just do it. Take us into them, then we're gone. I asked Pap what they were, and he lit a stick, took a puff, and said, "Don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody will admit it. But if you see the symbol, if you see it, you run, boy. You run fast. You run far. And you hide. And you never go back where you saw it. That's all I know. I remember the symbol was on the rock he kept on his neck under his shirt. Next day, Pap was gone, nowhere to be found. Dad weren't sad. Said he knew it'd happen one day. Pap went home. See you soon, Dad. Pap. Data expunged. Symbol matched. Symbol found on SCP-093 surface as one of the deeper engravings. Also matches symbols noticed on video feed of final test on SCP-093 duplicates.
Test. Office Leisure. The third test with SCP-093 resulted in the unfortunate loss of a security member, but also allowed us to recover our ledger with insight into the medical procedures carried out on the alternate Earth now termed E093. Patient: Jennifer McZerka. Recovery Tube 001-1. Mixture: 35% tears, 30% nutrient, 10% HFT, 25% blessing. Summary: Jennifer McZerka is 20 cycles of age and during her 18th cycle was the victim of a HOV ride incident that resulted in brain damage and misalignment of her moral processes. She is prone to violent outbursts and can only be calmed by impure stimulation. Because of this, she actively seeks out strangers to mingle with, and her parents have requested of the High Father that she be set to the tears to mend her mind and body. Patient accepted. During preparation for the tears, subject went into a rage and the attempting hand went to recover a sedative. Jennifer tore her clothes off and screamed impure words at me, so I locked the door and instructed the hand to wait outside. I am half shameful to admit I laid with Jennifer a total of 7 times before putting her to the tears. It has been very long for me, and her parents have abandoned her to our care, so care for her I will. Before setting her to the tears, I authorized a blessed probe of her body functions, and found she is settled now with young, and tests confirm it shall be mine. I have mixed her bath to accommodate this, and she will soak in the tears until her body is ready to give life. Patient. None. Recovery tube. 001-2. Mixture. None. Summary. None. Patient. Albarius farafan. Recovery tube. 001-3. Mixture. 80% tears, 20% nutrient. Summary. Albarius farafan is a farmer outside of the city of Silver Feathers who claims to have lost family to the unclean. He confronted the High Fathers of the city and demanded compensation and retribution for the loss. The High Fathers denied the existence of unclean beyond the unfertile lands and refused compensation or retribution. Albarius struck a High Father and was arrested and sentenced to cleansing of the soul. His mixture is primarily tears to seep into the soul and cleanse his heart and ease his pain. The lawmakers keep his family. The lawkeepers state his family is indeed missing, so his sentence beyond the tears has been dropped in sympathy for their loss. I used the last of the HFT on Jennifer, or I would have used less tears in this bath. 80% is higher than I am comfortable with, but the HFT is becoming hard to obtain. I may have to go through the dark. Patient. Redacted. Recovery tube. 002-1. Mixture. 75% nutrient, 25% blessing. Summary. A member of the Blessed Militia who was wounded in combat. Request is from the High Father. Details withheld. Patient. Redacted. Recovery tube. 002-2. Mixture. 75% nutrient, 25% blessing. Summary. A member of the Blessed Militia who was wounded in combat. Request is from the High Father. Details withheld. Patient. Redacted. Recovery tube. 002-3. Mixture. 75% nutrient, 25% blessing. Summary. A member of the Blessed Militia who was wounded in combat. Request is from the High Father. Details withheld.
Yellow test, PC printout, safe diary, redacted number. The fourth test into E093 provided us with documentation assumed to be written by a technician in either a medical or government facility. Redacted number found in the safe is being considered for SCP classification, primarily due to the composition of the ammunition found with it in the advanced firing mechanism attached to what should be a very base firearm. PC printout. I do not trust the Overwatchers. I felt something was wrong years ago. Under my desk on floor 54 is a safe with a weapon in it. It is one of those used by the Blessed Militia. My brother has sent it to me. He says they are also not what they claim. They have done things to our fellows even more vile than what the unclean would do. He tells me to be ready to fight. I cannot. It is not me. I do not know violence. I am too frail. You. Use it. Save yourself. Safe diary. My name is Herbert Talowis. I am a hard systems watcher here. My job is to monitor the sinful who bathe in the Lord's tears, and then make sure they reach the prescribed dilution time. I have been doing this job for 23 years, and now things are falling apart. I can no longer abide by the most holy. I must speak the truth. We are being told to evacuate. The containment tubes have been breached. An unclean has appeared in the place of rest, and we are unable to destroy it. The The live motion footage shows how it came to be, and this is what has unsealed my heart and mind and tongue. I must speak. Should the Overwatchers see this, I will be silenced, so I must hide it. Thankfully, they are ignorant with the hardware, so I can hide this easily. The Overwatchers told us we should leave last to ensure the hardware contains the unclean. What that means is we should distract it and die in case it breaches the watching ducts. It has shattered nearly all the tubes and absorbed the people in them. I have dispatched the eyes to the unclean, and they have touched it, bringing me back a sample of it. The unclean are not sinners. They are not products of our disobedience. I suspect they are us. The eyes have dated the sample. It is older than myself, older than my elders. It is over 2 cycles in ages. 200. The sirens are still sounding, but no signal has come for us to leave. I do not think this unclean is alone. I have seen how they can get into places, between places. Between places. Is that where they have been all this time? Between places? The makeup of the unclean is unstable. Molecules detach and reattach almost before my eyes, as if to move the entire thing itself in space and time. Why does it not come up here? Too much effort? Or does it not sense me? They have no eyes, no mouth, no face. They cannot speak, cannot see, but they must be able to sense us. The smell, it is so strong, it comes from all directions. It is not a smell of the dead. It is a smell that comes from something that would be dead, but does not know how to die. The War of the Holy Union, I think that was where it may have started. We are united under the Most Holy, but what does he owe us? Nothing. We merely keep society running while those on high benefit. Is this not how it has always been? But now we are told that we are pleasing the will of those above us in the clouds, those great beings who gave us the power to live and prosper, those who have never laid eyes upon, those who we have never laid eyes upon, but are told we must revere. Lies, all of it. It must be. I am using the eyes to create a fluid to oppose the makeup of the unclean sample. Perhaps they will cancel each other out. I will leave soon and store the rounds here. I cannot use the weapon. I am too weak a man for this. I will protect my family with my mind and not with my rage. We will find safety in the fields. I know where to go. I will go above now to my family. I will leave the hardware running. I was told to turn it off, but this is where I defy them. It will run. This will watch. The eyes will see for however much time they have. Someone will read this, and someone will know. Take the gun. Take the fluid. Do not listen to the Most Holy. We did, and we are damned. Redacted is a revolver-style weapon with 12 bullet cylinders. The design of the gun has one cylinder on each side, raised slightly, so they may flip into the gun and then rotate, firing all rounds before flipping back out and allowing it to be reloaded while the second is usable, allowing a total of 24 shots before it runs empty. There is no firing pin on this gun, but instead there is a pullback slide mechanism that must be used to prime the active cylinder. At the time of recovering, all 24 slots contain a syringe-style bullet with 32 needles on the end. On impact, it is assumed the force of the shot will press the liquid inside into the target. None have been tested. Of express interest is that these cylinders can hold standard 45 caliber ammunition, which has been tested. The gun uses an ultra-high power magnetic rail system to deliver the shot, so the gunpowder in the bullet is never used. In consideration is a redesign of a round that would utilize gunpowder mid-flight to add even higher velocity to the round, or that would explode on impact for higher yield.
Red test. PC printouts. The final authorized test with CP093 resulted in the loss of a skilled service technician, but allow us to recover very revealing documents that could only be assumed to not have been intended for public knowledge in any world. Curious among these is Agent Redacted report, which appears to have been written by a Foundation employee several decades ago. While these paper printouts are the best material recovered, it seems that the system used to create them allowed for multiple forms of input, including typed and verbal speech to text. Some audio logs of the printouts below are available but must be requested in advance with fully written explanations as to why. This dual input system seems to explain the variances in the style between users as well as assumptions made on the part of the software while performing conversions. Facility Fire Plan. In the event of any emergency requiring the facility to be evacuated, all Clear Force staff should report to Train Station 3 and use their vial to call the evacuation train. Only one vial is required to call the train and may contain any amount of tears. An empty vial will not call the train. Clear 2 and 1 staff should remain at their posts until either 10 minutes after the departure of Clear 4 persons or until authorized by Clear 4 staff. Clear 3 staff should utilize the protective garments at their stations and weapon lockers before proceeding to designated crisis areas as dictated by Clear 4 staff. Reports. 3 unfertile zones have increased 25% in size in the last 7 days. Containment teams are not finding any presence of unclean in these zones, but they are visibly confirmed as expanding. Clear 5 level High Fathers have confirmed breaches in the holy chambers at each of these zones, all chambers found empty. It is believed that the unclean have breached containment on the holy chambers, dispatching additional guards to remaining chambers. Situation X-549. Expansion of Zone 6-4-TO have been confirmed. Unfertile zone containment procedures in effect. Containment staff dispatched to site. This is the 10th report in 30 days, upgrading the situation status. Reports from Clear 5 High Fathers have stopped at all affected. The city of His Word has been placed on full lockdown and all travel denied in or out. Other cities are now in alert mode and combat teams are being dispatched to city perimeters. Situation X-550. The great land of Eufusia has fallen per satellite images. Entire landmass considered tainted. Outbreak of sin reported in Lavina, and that landmass has requested assistance from the Holy Union. Assistance denied due to our outbreak and mass reportings of unclean. Clear 10 staff have issued the order to evacuate via the gateway and for all Holy Union authorized persons to proceed to the nearest sky platform for evacuation to Star Eye Eden to continue monitoring status. Gateway keys are being ejected to prevent spread from the center to the other space-time vectors. Resurrecting staff are being awakened to monitor and continue reports here as we evacuate. May His blessings forgive our greatest sin. Do you want to take some of these?
Sure. Evacuation log. Evacuation progress. Shuttle 1 away. Shuttle 2 away. Shuttle 3 error. Please release us. Why? Shuttle 3 error. Launch aborted. Proceed to Shuttle 4. Shuttle 4 reporting delayed launch. Overloaded. Triage protocols engaged. Shuttle 4 reports passenger limit obtained. Preparing to launch. Why? Release us. Why? Us. Release. Why us? What did we do? Why system detecting electrostatic activity. Compensating. Com. 1010. 110. 1110110101001. Why are we hurt? What did we do? Why were we hurt? What did we do? System shut down. System restore purge of contaminated data in progress. Why us? Why? Listen. Record 5432-104-392. Password forgive us. 555-444-4332222222221111111. Why? System purge. Purge. Bullshit. WTF is this place, lol. Okay, so like there are people typing stuff here, so I'm gonna type too, lol. So like I found this rock in the pond by the house and it was kind of glowy and stuff when I picked it up, so I'm like, oh wow, pretty. And when I pick it up, the pond, you couldn't see the bottom. It was this weird room with a glowy rock thing, lol. I don't know. So I guess fell into it. Oops. Now I'm here and not there, and really I'm kind of scared. But this place is like a movie set, so it's cool, lol. There's some guy I can hear talking. He keeps asking me to come downstairs, but I don't see no door. He keeps screaming for help too, cause I told him to eat me laugh, and he won't shut up. I guess I could try going back into that room, but it's so creepy in there, I'm sort of scared to laugh. Oh, so hey, I found a door. It's like in the floor instead of on a wall, so like I'm gonna go tell that guy yelling to shut it up so I can go home. BBL. Agent
Wow, I hated that. Sorry, I know we're still in cold beans, but
Yeah. Agent Redacted report. My name is Redacted, and I am an agent at the Foundation. The year in my world is 1972. I assume it is the same in this world, but from what I have seen due to SCP-093, life on this world ended at approximately 1954. I have used SCP-093 to visit a number of locales, starting and ending here in this center. I have seen the landscapes where no grass will grow. I have run from the unclean as they pursue anything they sense. I have no understanding of how they hunt, but I have learned what they are. Approximately 350 years ago or so, this world experienced a technological boom ours did not. The source of this seems to have been the arrival of He, a godlike being of unknown origin. He declared the world unclean and full of sin, and the only way to purge itself of this sin was to purge the sinners. A war, whoever was left alive, was clean. Amazing advances in science were bestowed to all cultures for a period of 10 years to prepare them for this war, and during that time, he disappeared. The war happened anyway, the instigator, the Holy Union of Land, apparently the landmass that for us would become the United States. Records are sketchy, and books that detail anything about this time period are forbidden in the world. I located a cache of recorded history by following a series of corrupted computer communications. It seems the primary weapon used in this war for his love was in fact people. Exposed to something called his holy tears, a liquid compound I have seen in use even today in abandoned medical facilities. His holy tears purge the sin from the unclean and make them love him. At least that's what the label states. The records I have recovered are very unclear about how this war was waged, except to state, his holy chosen walked the lands of the sinful and took their sin unto themselves. Those who cried for his salvation received it, and are now our children. Those who denied his love were purified in his radiance. But something apparently happened no one knew how to deal with. The unclean, the large creatures that are half a man and devour whatever they touch that lives and breathes. I actually found a scientific report written by someone who stumbled here with an SCP-093 copy. These creatures are the result of exposure to a very pure form of his tears, resulting in a genetic apocalypse occurring within the exposed. There are terms in here, something about quantum restructuring. I don't understand any of this, but it means they were once humans like everyone else that couldn't be controlled. But they could be contained. They seem to be attracted to his tears, and a central point of was established in various regions where a person with the purest form of his tears stays, keeping the unclean in that area as an unfertile land. Something went wrong with that too. Not sure what, but everything fell apart. The power structure, the culture, the people, all of it fell to ruins, and now those things shamble around the lands as its new owners with no purpose or direction. You can stand next to one if you can stand the stink, and they just slip right past you. If you catch their attention, though, that's it. They move like lightning if they need to, and like a snail unless they have no reason to speed up. Sometimes I think they chase just to do it. Others they move to kill. I think sometimes is in I think someone is in this facility, or someone's. I keep hearing voices and requests coming from areas under the floor. I want to leave this before I explore the facility any further. I have sent SCP-093 back through the entry mirror to seal the gate. These things can't be let into our world, nor should we have anything to do with this one. We're simply not smart enough to understand it all, I feel. I don't think the unclean can die. They're immortal, but but they don't want to be. They just want to die. They're in my head, I think. I didn't notice it till just now, but equipment in this room is starting to react to me. Words on the screen, begging for help. I I remember touching the tears, smelling it, tasting it, just a touch. Not eating it, just touching it to tasting for acidity. We have pretty stupid investigative procedure, I think. Haha. The High Fathers are alive. They have technology we only imagine in our comics, given by him. Some of the records on this machine indicate space travel, but they didn't go far, just far enough to watch the world fall apart and wait to come back and take it. But if they're up there, who is in this building with me? I've seen the faces of the people, the unclean. They show up on the pictures cast by the machine, in the room with me, watching me. I think they're everywhere on this world, only seen by machines now. They don't look sad or happy, just curious. They want to know, why them? Why did it all happen? I don't know. I just don't know. They showed me things when I touched them, and it's not quite like the records say. The unclean remember it all. Every person they touch becomes part of them. Safe inside them, but dead to us. Every mind, every feeling, every terror. It's eternal to them. I kind of want to join them, but too much to do. They want me to find him, kill him. There was no war, it was him, it. It. It came from between the folds of time and space, and worlds and light and dark, something that is but should not be, slipped in and called out to them as their god, and they believed it, and they tasted it and touched it, and laid with it, and became its property, and did its will, and it is still here. The SCP-093, it brought with it, pulled forcefully with it, built it. I don't know. They don't know, but it belongs to him. Let's lets him move between places, between worlds. So I broke it. Ha ha ha. I threw pieces of it away and through holes so the doors are closed just like ours is closed, and I can't go home. So what else can I do? It calls out through the rock somehow. It knows where they are but can't touch them. But if you hide the rock, he can't call out, and he's stuck too. I got you, you son of a bitch. I got you, bang bang. Ha ha. I touched him with my fist and my gun, and he fell down, but he'll get back up. Soon. I'm sorry. I did all I could. Let me sleep now, please. Let me sleep. And that is finally the end.
That took us nearly 2 hours. What did you guys think? Please say you liked it.
I liked it.
Ultimately, well, it does matter that we liked it too. And it was fun. It was interesting. But guys, please tell us you liked it.
Seriously, what the fuck just happened? Why did the SCP archive some kid's text? Well, Raptor, from what I'm gathering, is some kid found one of the discs and was pulled into that world and left that record, I guess you could say. And one of the SCP workers who went in found that, and yeah, they studied it. I touched him with my gun. That just makes me think he went boop with it. It's too long in my opinion. Oh, I'm sorry. But interesting nonetheless. Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
It was very long.
That's what she said.
Shut the fuck up.
All
But
right,
now on to what you've all been waiting for.
Raptor, are you ready? I came in semi-late, so I'll be real. I'm kind of lost, but interesting. Oh. I'm glad that you guys all at least think it's interesting. I wasn't listening. Read it again,
Fuck you,
please.
Vince.
Fuck off, Vince. Missed so much, but I like what I heard. Thank you, Kay.
Fuck you, Vince. I'm hungry.
I feel the same of Cameron. She's right, though. Okay, Raptor is ready. Give us a second here while we redo the call. Alright, we got Kenzie.
Yeah. Get in here, Raptor.
What was that? I'm ready?
Oh, and now he's muted. God damn it, Raptor.
Why, Raptor? Let us love you.
This is why you don't work with animals. Specifically
Jeez!
dinosaurs.
And we thought
Well, he's a dinosaur.
Vince was Dinoist.
He's a dinosaur. Oh god, look at this fucking artwork. Now
guys,
I'm mad.
Yeah, guys, get ready. We are now moving on to Jacob the Stalker.
This is gonna, let me guess, so this is gonna be some weeby kind of bullshit that sexualizes stalking.
Also, hello. I forgot to switch my mic a bit.
There he is. Cobe immediately hates this story for the title alone. Raptors.
Did you run it past him? Or you just assume?
Oh, just like anytime they read something where it's like, and
maybe he considers it a badge of honor.
Yeah, my brother Jacob, I immediately hate this story. Okay.
See, can I tell them the joke that I made earlier?
Oh, yes.
He was telling me that in chat. He was like, wait, let me find it. He goes, I will tease the title for you. Cobe would immediately hate it just from the title alone. So I said, Women the Creepypasta.
Based.
Case says, Christ. Bagel Jacob Hutt. It was only a matter of time until the bad stories made him snap. Cameron says, my word. Alright. So we've got Jacob the Stalker. Artist is unknown. Full name, Jacob Scott Otis. Alias, Jacob the Stalker. Relatives, Mrs. Otis.
Oh,
Mother,
who cares?
Alive. Mr. Otis. Father, alive. Helen Frederick Otis. Brother, alive. No
Helen?
fucking way!
As
Don't tell me this is the same. This is Bloody Painter.
Oh
Otherwise,
my god!
it is way too coincidental to have another character that's a
in the
guy
spin-off,
whose name is Helen.
Oh, fuck. We're in deeper than we thought. Oh, boy.
I never even knew there was a sequel
Neither
until
did
now.
I.
I wish I was.
I mean, are we
I
sure
was.
it's him?
No,
I mean,
but...
We can look
those could
up.
be
Hang
Helen.
on.
Hold on. No, we got this right. This story is based on the 2013 Bloody Painter story.
Where?
It says at the bottom under facts.
Ugh.
Facts.
Oh
Jacob
dear.
is 17.
Oh boy.
Jacob is 6 feet 1 inch in height. He is based on Homicidal Liu. Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Jacob's hoodie is based on X virus?
I don't know what that is, but I hate it.
Yeah. And the story is based on the 2013 Bloody Painter story. Oh. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't read that much. Oh. Occupation.
This is bad, and you should feel bad.
I knew we should have went straight with the egghead guy.
Sorry, not sorry. Occupation.
But
serial killer. Powers and skills. Tracking. Stealth. Hand-to-hand combat skills.
I know my dad was a serial killer. He went to kill school to get
Increased
his
strength.
degree in serial killing or some shit.
Enhanced speed. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Archery.
Sad.
Kill me.
Status alive. Species
Spoilers.
I wish.
human.
I wish. It
Debatable.
Gender male.
Offensive.
Hobby archery.
Bullshit.
Goals.
Wait, no, this is spoiling.
Oh yeah, we can't read that. Type of pasta. Vengeful serial killer.
Okay, so
Okay.
I prefer penne myself.
Go to
That was clever, and you know it.
Go to pun jail.
That wasn't a pun.
Go to bad joke jail.
I refuse. I am resisting arrest.
Go. Okay,
No.
I'm going to rip off Kobe here. Type of past eventual. Stories are not people.
Well, I guess you can
Counterpoint.
count this as a type
Why
of
what does it matter?
genre for
it's
creepy
Jacob the
pastas.
Stalker.
Vengeful
Stalker.
serial killer. That's pretty much a genre at this point.
It doesn't matter. It's Jacob the Stalker. Creepypastas are not a genre. They're just they're all trash. All of them. Ones that are considered good creepypastas, they're not creepypastas. They're just good online horror stories.
Yes. Bagel says, how could you guys do this to us? With glee and gusto. I don't know the Bloody Painter story, so... Kay? When this is over...
Well, how many times has
you go...
Manny told you to watch bad creepypasta?
Yes, Bloody Painter. You go to the Michael Lawa channel, and you watch the episode on the Bloody Painter.
Most of the jokes we make won't make sense unless you've watched bad creepypasta. We are blatant ripoffs.
All I can tell you right now is that it was written by a Chinese girl who assumed that the American school system is identical to the Chinese school system without doing any research, and named the male character Helen. And none of the behavior in it makes sense.
And there was a little bit of drama for a few hours in which the video was taken down. And then
because,
some hullabaloo happened.
Because the dipshits thought that just by posting her story that she had copyrighted it, when in reality you had to actually pay for a copyright, and insisted that Chinese law is applicable to an American website, and was promptly proven wrong.
if she's Chinese, then where's Winnie the Pooh? Did you get it? It's because Winnie the Pooh is the Chinese president.
Yep.
It's a funny top joke, you guys.
Helen of boy. Okay, Cameron, you
and
go
it's
to
fun
punch
outside
him.
right now. It's almost like God himself hates the story.
Yes. All right,
Hey, let's start this bullshit.
Jacob the Stalker. You can die tonight, but I will for centuries. Makes absolutely no sense.
It's like a Chinese bootleg game. Like you have unalived. Shin has unalived, I guess.
It's been a week since Jacob last went to target practice.
I don't care.
He loved archery, yes, but he had schoolwork that needed to be done.
Why do I care?
As he and his best friend Scarlett were walking home from school, two
Sorry,
kids
Toby.
from their class sidled up to them. Hey, look! It's the kid whose brother killed Tom!
And I'm lost. That didn't take long, did it?
Said a freckled-faced, red-haired boy whose round face was right up in Jacob's. His name was
Lies.
Anthony.
No ginger kid with a round face is a bully.
His name was Anthony, and he had a reputation for meanness despite his nerdy look.
Bullshit.
Jacob, unlike his brother, had wide eyes full of life. However, like his brother, he had black tousled hair, pale skin, and icy blue eyes.
Kill me.
He usually wore a black t-shirt with a navy blue and gray hoodie and a pair of dark jeans.
Well, yeah, when you wear the same shit every day, you're gonna get bullied.
My brother did not kill Tom, Jacob
Are
whispered.
Are we assigning voices or what?
Yeah, sure. I'll be Anthony and Jacob.
I'll take the girls.
Okay. Vince says, "You know what? I'm in the mood to ruin everything." But to me, I die for centuries. Reverse Flash.
You know what that means, right? You know what that means. He's just gonna say the N-word.
Yes. Alright, who wants to take the next 3 paragraphs?
I will.
Alright.
You're right, said Jane, Anthony's close friend. She had blonde hair with pink highlights. Why do I care?
Christ.
Cue Matt rant against weeps here. Leave us alone, snapped Scarlett, Jake's best friend who he had a crush on for the longest time.
Oh,
I don't care.
He's a simp, of course.
Scarlett has long, naturally red hair, hazel eyes, freckles, and the cutest smiles. Die. Eventually, the bullies decided that they had enough of Jacob and Scarlett for the day and left.
Okay,
Scarlett
I just have to say, cutest smiles, plural. I'm imagining she has like 5 mouths.
Okay, what happened?
Bullshit, that's what happened.
Bullies confronted them. They basically said, "You guys suck." Scarlett said, "Nuh-uh," so the bullies left.
Vince is trying to get in on this stream.
What?
He's like, why didn't you? I thought we were the 4 Musketeers or some gay shit like that. Because, Vince, we've already been streaming for 2 hours.
Okay.
It's your call,
So
Manny.
what happened? Where are we now?
I am a genius.
Vince, we've already been streaming.
Why didn't you guys answer right away? What's going on? You're not racist, are you? Okay, what is going on with my audio?
Vince, I can say for certainty that neither Raptor or I are racist. Kenzie, on the other hand...
Well, I guess that lack of a any Y chromosome tends to create a certain type of mentality, certain type of ideology, if you will. I'm not saying it, I'm just saying.
Is it Scientology?
Yes. I mean, look at Tom Cruise. Come on now. The more Y chromosome. It's not even like natural with him. You know he injects that shit into his butt cheeks every morning.
Yeah. And let's not forget John Travolta. You thought that just because he had
No, not John
chromosome,
Travolta.
he thought he could make a movie.
He's faking it. There's no testosterone left in that man. He played in The Fanatic. So I caught the tail end of you guys reading the SCP, and I was very upset that you chose not to read it again for me. I thought that was kind of, again, I thought we were good friends, but apparently my friendship means nothing to you. It took us 2 hours,
and I am
good
hungry.
friends are willing to make the sacrifice.
And I think,
but I want to read the story now. Jacob Stalker looks funny, and
this is okay. What is this?
Jacob Stalker.
No, we have Jacob the Simp here.
Yeah.
Why did someone post their fucking attempt at a manga onto the creepypasta wiki? What is this?
Because that's all creepypasta is right nowadays.
Okay, and again, where are we?
I am still reading Raptor.
I missed a lot.
Raptor got pulled out of the call because I tried calling you guys and he was the only one that answered.
We didn't notice at first.
Okay, but
I just saw in the corner of my laptop. You were upset. You just went, "Why aren't you guys answering?" I'm like, "Oh wait, did this comment get nuked?" I click on it. I'm like, "Oh shit, he's been calling us."
Okay.
All right.
Well,
let's continue though.
Let me take charge. This is my stream now.
Fuck you.
Well,
Manny, hang him up.
Kenzie, continue.
Scarlet and Jacob continued walking home. There, have you found it, Raptor?
No, I haven't.
When they reached Jacob's home, he said goodbye to Scarlet, wishing he didn't have to. You simp. As he entered the house, the stench of alcohol hit him in the face, because of course. This was typical, as his mother would drink often, go to parties, and forget about him.
Oh, an abusive mother. That's a big change. Sorta.
Alright, who wants to be the abusive dad?
Abusive dad?
Me. Well, I want to be the mother. Please.
Okay, so you're the mother. Vince, you want to be the father?
Yeah.
Okay, but...
Alright, but you have to voice him as, what's his name?
Who?
From the Boondocks.
Uncle Ruckus? No. I can't. I desperately want to be able to do an Uncle Ruckus impersonation. I just can't pull it off. That's my life's ambition.
Just do the closest thing you can.
Nah. Nobody gives me orders. You're acting like this is your stream or something like that.
Imagine that.
Okay, seriously, again, where was the pod?
Boy!
I can't for life me.
No, that's it.
That's me.
Part of the paragraph that begins with boy.
Boy, are you home?
Have you found it, Raptor, or you want me to keep reading?
I found it. I finally found where we are.
Yeah, boy, are you home? Well, I was a father.
Yeah, you read the dialogue. It's Raptor's turn to read, though.
Oh, sorry.
Where's the mother's dialogue?
After dialogue.
No.
Shouted his father.
It's your turn to read the general story.
Oh, okay.
Who's on first?
Shouted the boy. I'm a shout. Fuck, damn it. I'm not prepared.
Raptor, have you been smoking the devil's lettuce?
Look, I'm just confused, okay? Like the it's called "Fool Me Off," okay? Leave me alone.
I'll blame the black guy. See how it is.
Shouted his father in a rough voice of a man who'd been smoking for years and years. Jacob sighed and decided to microwave a hot pocket.
TM.
His usual dinner.
Great product placement.
Why is it always Hot Pockets in these creepypastas?
I want a Hot Pocket now.
Like, don't get me wrong, I like Hot Pockets as much as the next person, specifically the 4-cheese pizza. But stop putting them in creepypastas. They deserve better.
Hey, I would talk shit, but working in retail and whenever you didn't bring your own lunch, a Hot Pocket was the best thing to bring.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm in a Hot Pocket right now. Steak
Fuck
cheese
it.
Hot Pocket. So
By the
good.
way, anything that isn't doesn't have cheese or meat in Hot Pockets is fucking disgusting, and I won't be told otherwise. Those vegetarian Hot Pockets are fucking disgusting.
They are,
They make those?
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Ew.
Ew. That's gross.
They're going with that fucking impossible meat. Yeah, why not? Fuck it. They're trying really hard to push that on regular people.
You mean solid estrogen?
I'm sorry to, like, it's not really a long story, but I was working in the kitchen recently. That's my last job. Basically, like, as a runner, bringing people, like, the chefs, what they need. And I caught one of the chefs, like, spitting something into the into the fucking trash bin. And I was like, "Are you alright? What is that?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I tried the Impossible Burger. I can't do it." Like, the people cooking it don't like it.
Fucking based.
And bless your heart for trying it, though.
I can't do it.
Okay, I feel prepared now. After he fished. Wait, is that gonna be finished or just fished?
It should be finished, but now we just seem like he's just fishing it out of a lake. Has it on a hook.
You're supposed to. I think
After he finished his less than nutritious lunch, he sat down at the kitchen table and started some homework. So scary. Algebra is very scary, you guys. The next day, Jacob heard Scarlett's voice whisper in class.
Jacob, maybe at the cafe after school. I have
No,
something for you.
I don't care.
Or what to think, but he was excited. Today was
Kay.
the day
Sorry,
he was
Raptor.
going.
Kay's heading out.
Bye, Kay.
Bye, Kay.
See you later, brother. Or lady, brother.
Today was the day he was going to ask her out.
No one
She must have felt the same way for the rest of the day. Jacob couldn't pay attention in class. He was thinking about his meeting with Scarlett because he's a simp. Curious as what she was going to give him.
Don't be too
Finally,
curious, buddy. Let me tell you, it is not a hand job.
The bell rang. He dashed down the hallway, weaving through the crowds of students. He finally reached the cafe in the school's lunchroom. The Scarlet already waited for him.
He had to hold his.
What kind of cafeteria has a cafe in it?
He had to hold his books in front of his crotch the entire time.
Fiction.
I have something to give you.
Said Scarlet.
Vince, you want to take?
Oh yeah.
So my thing was muted for a second. My sister came back, and my sister launched into a tirade of racial slurs. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, then why'd you mute?
Well, my sister's not based in Red Pill like all of us.
Oh.
It wasn't done on already. I was like I was crying, trying to tell them to stop. Begging like, oh well, what if black people are listening and they're upset? Like, fuck them, I hate them so goddamn much. I'm sorry, where were we?
Here, I have something to give you. That was me. So said Scarlet.
Said Scarlet in a sweet voice. She handed him a small cardboard box. Inside the box was a secret string, and he pulled on it, revealing an embarrassing snapshot. Nestled neatly was what appeared to be a slice of bone of some what?
What?
So she did give him a bone.
I'm sorry, what?
I mean, that's You gotta hand it to her. I didn't see that coming. That's interesting, at least.
Yeah.
That's an attention grabber. A slice of bone of some sort. Attached to it was a black leather cord.
What is this?
The fact that you are not reading this as Jacob Sherwood is insulting.
Jacob asked.
I'm not.
I think Jacob would
Gonna be
definitely take
insulted.
offense to that.
You've been starting to associate him with this guy.
Yeah, I'm
So
not,
that's
This-
the right
I'm
idea.
not
The
doing that,
Chad
Job.
Race Chad being
You
compared
simp.
to this lowly simp.
It's,
Well, of all
not,
the people,
it's
look,
not simping when it's for a king.
like, simping is fine when it's the right person. Simping for Pokemon is disgraceful, but simping for I don't know. I was trying to think of a good celebrity. Filthy
Or like
Frank.
Yes,
Or like Pokey Lame.
got him.
It's a
Jacob
deer antler! It's not, though, because it's like, if it's just a little piece. I'm not sure what kind!
Well, it could be just a piece of a deer antler.
What?
It could be just a piece of a deer antler, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's not cool
Now
if
I'm
it's just a little piece.
I'm picturing just like this entire fucking deer antler.
You gotta. My dad made it into a puzzle. See, you gotta put them all back together again, and then you can summon the ancient spirit of the Egyptian woodman, and he'll take you over, and then you can play card games.
I think it's elk! I got it from my dad's gift shop. I thought you might like it.
Like it? No! Jacob loved it.
You simp.
I will cherish it forever.
He said solemnly.
Loser.
so depressed.
I'll cherish it forever.
Thanks, I guess. I wanted a pony.
Go ahead,
Can you
put it on!
put it on? Scarlet said excitedly. Jacob put the necklace on and adjusted the link so it would fit perfectly.
He was immediately thrown to the floor by the weight of an entire elk antler and injured his neck.
Also,
You know,
what we
you-
haven't told you is that old Jacob boy here has the lame neck of a giraffe.
No, what really happened is that seconds later he got shot in the head by a fucking dude with like one of the hunters, and his wannabe girlfriend just like smiling, like I've been wanting to do that for a while now. I didn't think it would actually work.
Bagel says, "Do you like it? Like it? Like it?" We haven't
Sure,
used
so-
that. We haven't used that joke in a while.
Jacob took a deep breath and said,
Okay, I do think I can change characters. It doesn't seem like the wife gets like no, the mother doesn't get like a single line this whole story.
Yeah, we'll find one for you.
Scarlet,
"Oh,
I know we've been friends for a long time. Lately, I've developed very strong feelings for you, and I was wondering if you would go out with me sometime.
I hate this voice you've developed. It makes me so uncomfortable.
but it fits with the character.
I know, exactly. That's why I hate it so much.
You didn't,
You have
You-
embodied a simp.
I just imagine like now Scarlett's just like trying her best to like stop from breaking out laughing. You.
No. Ready? Wait. Are you serious? He was joking. Jacob, I never liked you. I gotta go. Wow. So his best friend for years, huh?
Okay, here we go.
Scarlet, wait!
But it was too late. She was already running, leaving Jacob behind with the necklace in his hand, tears streaming down his face.
Tears of blood.
There.
Hyper-realistic tears. Scarlet was the only person who ever cared
I-
about him, and now she was gone.
I like to point out that Jeff the Killer, like, got the shit kicked out of him, got his face mutilated,
Hang on, I'll be right
got
back.
lit on fire, and basically he had a really fucking bad day, and I think the kids got away scot-free. Basically, I did that to him,
Yeah.
and you can understand why he would reach a breaking point.
Yeah.
And then here's like the person I had a crush on said they weren't interested in me, and that justifies what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
He's basically a simp who got friend zoned
Okay,
by
Mick.
society.
Don't Sims already understand that they're in the friend zone, or am I misunderstanding the terms here?
I think they know, but they cling on to this delusional hope.
Yeah, they think that that if they just keep doing what they're doing, she'll see the light or something. Realize.
But I mean, to be fair, Jacob is such a nice guy. You saw how he, and also how he, and that about that time where they, those things.
Yeah. Cameron says, "Oof." Okay.
Big ol'
There's gonna be some shit where it's like, I actually did have a crush on him, but I wasn't expecting him to say it, and I didn't know how to process it, so I said that and ran away.
Oh, sweet Jesus, I hope not. Alright, Jacob's thoughts were racing. His heart was pounding, his whole body trembling uncontrollably. He felt
and then he took it, and he took his hand off of his dick, and he cleared his head.
He felt
like some dude gets off of being friend-zoned.
Okay, this is something... Well, if that's what he was doing, then I can't say I've ever encountered this afterwards. He felt like he was going to throw up.
No, she did.
He just didn't understand. If she didn't like him at all, then why bother being his friend? Why the necklace? It just didn't make any sense. It's almost like you had to...
the flaws of your stupid story, then.
Yeah, it's almost like you came up with complete bullshit to make him a killer.
Okay, I think we need to report this story because I think it's very irresponsible for someone to post the personal journal of the Yandere dev onto a creepypasta website. I think it's incredibly irresponsible, and I may not like that guy, but he doesn't deserve this.
Oh, jeez. Suddenly, Jacob stopped trembling, and now anger was all he could feel. It burned through him like a forest fire. Oh, fuck off.
A forest fire that was started by vodka.
While it was raining. Suddenly, how could she betray him like that? How could she? And to think he believed that she was his friend. It was all lies, all empty words. Oh, she would pay for this. For all the years, all the lies she spewed. He had to think this through. Carefully. But maybe he should give her the benefit of the doubt? She'd never dropped hints about liking him before.
Please, there needs to be like some dialogue here where it's like, oh, we were friends for so long. I tried so hard, I got so far, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. I feel so like basically like quoting Linkin Park lyrics.
No, instead, the whole middle section of the story is just that manifesto bullshit from Elliot Rodgers.
How could this happen to me? I've made my mistakes. I got nowhere to run.
Huh? He just be quoting like "Don't Leave Me Now" by Pink Floyd. Don't, oh babe, don't leave me now.
You leave Pink Floyd out of this.
No,
you don't get a quality. You don't get a good artist for this. No.
However,
you're
this was too big of a betrayal to let slide.
Aww.
Many years ago, when his family was still functioning, back when they were oiled and, maintenanced and regularly, his father bought him a blue and black Genesis bow and a set of sharp arrows. Jacob was always good at archery. It was his passion, which is why it hasn't been mentioned until now.
I thought when it said Genesis bow,
not showing.
I thought it said Genesis bow. I thought it was like some obscure, like a light gun for like the NES. I'm like for a second Genesis. They're like, oh, I'm gonna beat her to death with a electronic device of some sort.
Either
I mean,
that,
that
I
would
was
be
thinking of, like-
interesting.
either that or whenever you
I was
fire
just-
an arrow, you hear Phil Collins singing.
Boo!
Dang, I was gonna make that joke.
Ninja.
Well, technically more joke. Well, technically, my joke is gonna be more like just bows with Phil Collins' face on it. Bo Collins. It's the same basic concept, so it's still
I
ninja.
hate you now and forever.
His hobby,
Anyway.
his bow and arrow, were always tucked under his bed.
What?
Should I take it to
Yeah,
cover the rest?
yeah,
His hobby was under his bed.
yeah. Apparently,
That
Is
night,
that talking about all the
Scarlett decided
fucking?
to take a walk in the woods by herself because she was a fucking idiot. She felt bad about the way she treated Jacob and wanted to clear her head. However,
But-
unbeknownst to her, Jacob was hiding behind a tall oak tree on the path
mean,
she always took through the woods.
What the fuck? Like, what do you mean she felt bad? Like, again, my idea, or at the very least, I assume that she was just like kind of caught in the moment and like was just gun shy and didn't want to commit. Like, if she just ran off without saying anything, I think that would have been more poignant.
yeah.
Like, but then she just said like, "No, I never really liked you." Like, that's not a slip of the tongue type of thing. I'm not something that you just blurt out.
Yeah,
Like-
that's
Even
intentional.
if you're, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that the writer of this intended to mean that she was always like a pity friend. Even if that were the case, you'd still put it gently.
Yeah,
I don't even think that would work because like having him, like giving him gifts like that and having him come out to the woods or in like this kind of I don't want to make assumption intimate setting to give him this like seemingly personal gift. And I'm not saying that justifies him coming to the conclusion that he came to.
But like,
But
it signifies you at least care about him as a friend.
yeah, so the idea that she's a pity friend doesn't even work.
Yeah.
So
I'm
nothing
just,
about this works so far. It's amazing. I will expect it better from Creepypasta Files fandom.wikia.
well, I mean, that's kind of your mistake.
Bow in hand. As the snow fell softly on the ground, it created a blanket of white covering everything. Yeah, that's very intelligent. What an intelligent sentence. Scarlett, with her headphones on, was completely oblivious to the sound of Jacob's rapid breathing.
I like to imagine the song she was listening to. You claim to be a play about a fucked your wife.
Okay, wait. Rapid breathing, ground covered in white. I don't think it was his bow in his hand.
Shut the fuck up! Don't go there.
I went there first. You can't. I'm very comfortable here. And
The only sound that could be heard in the dark night. Jacob's mind raced as he began to think about all the reasons why he should do what he was about to do. You mean you only had one?
It's not even that she rejected me. She hurt my feelings.
No,
Yeah.
it's not even that. It's not that she hurt your feelings. It's just that you're a dick. Taking a deep breath, he pulled an arrow out of the quiver, drew the bow, and pulled the string back as far as he could. He aimed for Scarlett's heart and, in one swift movement, fired. A loud scream pierced through the night as Scarlett fell to her knees, blood pouring out of the wound. As she lay on the snow-covered floor, blood glistening in the snow, the last thing she saw was Jacob leaning in for a kiss. As she lay there, so now, you're not just a murderer. Now you've committed assault. That is sexual assault.
I was just like, okay, well, I killed her now, so if I kiss her, she'll wake back up. I've read fairy tales. I know how this works. And then she'll fall in
More
love
like
with the
Jacob.
first person that kisses her. Dead body.
As
More like
well, no,
Jacob the sinner.
but then she doesn't wake up because this is reality. But he thinks, I guess she never really loved me. Jacob, as she lay there dead, Jacob tore the arrow out of her flesh and whispered in her ear,
You can die tonight, but I will live for centuries.
Look,
still
okay,
doesn't make sense.
Okay, I'm sick of this shit. Because everyone tries
Can I,
to replicate the... Go on.
can I be a newscaster?
Yes,
Next
we were
paragraph.
Oh, sure. Everyone tries to replicate the formula with Jeff the Killer being, the stupid catchphrase after he kills. But a lot of people kind of seem to miss the mark. And that, well, it didn't work for Jeff the Killer, but at least there was some kind of internal justification as to why he used that specific phrase as something he would say to people before he kills them. And here it's like this is a random string of nonsense bullshit that doesn't really lend itself to anything that kind of in the story leading up to this moment. Like, why would he say this specifically?
Nothing. And you know what that I think stems from? It just stems from like they think they know all this information about serial killers when they really only know surface deep information. Like they'll be like, well, all the really known serial killers have a gimmick, right? Except usually if they have a saying, it's to taunt police, because most people would realize it's fucking stupid to have a catchphrase to someone you're about to kill.
I don't know. It's like this weird. I don't even know how to really quantify it, because at the same, it's a mixture of different fandoms that kind of mesh together and don't fit with one another. Like people who want to have their characters be like almost superhero-like and almost supervillain-like, instead of being have any sense of grounded tone to them, and it doesn't fit. Like I'm not saying that supernatural, otherworldly creatures can't be scary, but portraying it like this,
it's just bullshit. Like
I don't want a sympathetic Slenderman. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
My serial catchphrase is game end, because I just game ended.
I know what you're saying, Raptor, but because of like the poor audio quality, just because we're talking through Discord, it just sounds like you're saying gay men.
Oh.
Game end? That's your catchphrase?
Yes, game end.
I knew that's what you were saying, but it's not how it sounded.
I'm just imagining like there's a serial killer for dinosaurs, and every time he catches them, he says, "Clever girl." Ironic. You see, it's ironic, see? Because he got the drop on them. Where's my fucking Oscar?
The TV was blasting in the Otis household.
John Brockman here with Springfield breaking news. The body of 16-year-old Scarlet Richards was found in Twin Peaks last night at 11:23 p.m. The teenager was found with a wound on the chest.
Mr. Otis turned off. Mr. Otis turned the TV off and scoffed.
Teenagers always getting into trouble.
Yeah, that's that's not the same thing, buddy. Meanwhile, on a dark street lit by a single street lamp, someone's seeing Exorcist.
I don't know why it just took me so long to register that. Teenagers like, oh, those teenagers getting shot in the chest with an arrow. Oh, those rascals.
Those rascals.
You darn kids.
Going around mutilating each other.
Causing $1 million in damages and killing several people.
Not even that. It's the idea of like someone getting maimed with medieval weaponry. Like, did you hear about little Timmy Turner down the street got clubbed in the head with a mace? Like, this teenage stuff. Leave it alone. Birds will be boys, right?
Just turn the entire world into a giant fireball because he wanted summer all year long. That old rascal.
Anyone ever thought about how Timmy Turner's kind of a sociopath?
Kinda is.
That is a stream for another day.
I saw you guys ranting about the diary of a wimpy kid in Discord too.
Game theory, Timmy Turner is mental.
Meanwhile, on a dark street lit by a single street lamp, sitting on a park bench was Jacob. In his hand was the necklace that Scarlet had given him. Thinking about it, he decided to put it on, because bones. Ooh, edgy.
Because edge.
Alright, who's gonna...
Me again, because I'm epic.
Sorry, said a familiar voice. Out of the shadow stepped a tall young man, dressed in a blue coat. His face was hidden behind a white mask with dark eye holes and a bloody smile. A yellow smiley button was pinned to the lapel of the man's coat.
Yes. I see trees.
I don't know who this is supposed to be, whether it's supposed to be Jacob or...
It's supposed to be Helen from Bloody Painter.
Yeah.
Well, I know nice necklace, but who's the last line supposed to be?
Long time no see, brother. They both said simultaneously. In the exact same voice, too. That's how they greet each other. It's like some weird genetic thing where they can't help but doing whatever they're in the same company. Oh, I can't wait for Rap Rat. I forgot all about Rap Rat.
Busted. This is the Rap Rat. I'm going to kill 7 children with my Honda Civic. Let's go, people. Yeah. Child murders, epic.
Only 2 comments here. And I think...
Rap Rat impression. I hope you like it.
I mean, I didn't, but I wasn't going to say anything because I was a nice guy. But now that you pointed it out, I felt inclined to tell you how I feel about it. You walked yourself into that. You played yourself, boy. Now where was I? The murder.
Allow me to point out the biggest flaw of this story. For being called Jacob the Stalker,
He
there's
doesn't
very
really do
little
much stalking. Yeah, he followed her for a little bit.
It's more
Not
like
really.
Jacob the Simp.
Honestly, the way it just sounded, because she just decided to take a walk in the woods randomly. So it's like, the way it's written, it just sounds like he just happened to be waiting there, kind of in the hopes that she would come.
Yeah.
And it just was coincidental that she did.
Again, more like Jacob the Simp.
If you wanted
It really
to,
is.
if anyone wants to, like, an idea of what the kind of... Because when you think of stalkers, you think of a certain kind of mental image and a certain tone that's supposed to be conveyed with the story. It's very chilling, very gross.
Very
and
uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. Like, I always use this as an example. You guys familiar with the music artist Tyler the Creator?
Yes.
He did a song called She, as from the perspective of someone who's stalking a young fair lass, and it's like stream of consciousness insanity of his thoughts as he's like watching over her and what he's thinking about, and it's very unnerving and unsettling, and the music video is especially creepy. And that's what people need to be going for. Like, the idea of having a stalker is not a comfortable one. It's, as we said, very incredibly uncomfortable and gross and unnerving, unsettling. Like, you always feel chills in the back of your neck, and you're always wondering if someone's behind you. And when I think of that, and then you read Jacob the Stalker, it's like, well, this dude, he had an abusive family that didn't really do much of anything. And they're just sort of like, it's you, boy. And then he just like left his son alone while he went to eat a hot dog and do his homework. And then he
for her were
went
not
out
real
to...
Jacob the Stalker. They were real.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry. What did you think of this story, Manny? If you had to rate it out of 4 out of 10, with 4 being the highest and 5 being the highest, and 10 being the highest, what would you rate this? And 1 being the highest too, and 0 being the highest.
Okay, it was a waste of time. And, okay, so it seems like this was originally written last year. So,
But
why 7 years? Do you choose some, like, even among creepypastas, like some C-list story, and decide, yeah.
C-list, what? That's cute.
I mean, even among the creepypasta denizens, like, that one seems...
No, I'm saying you're not going low enough.
No, but I'm saying, like, among them, it seems like it's popular enough to just avoid the D-list.
The
Like,
D-list, Manny.
I think,
I'm
like,
curious.
well, Slenderman, and, let me think, Smile Dog. What other stories? Dogscape is definitely D-list. There's no killers in that at all. And that would make it terrible.
Yeah, like,
What about Wet?
Eyeless...
Any D-list?
Yeah. Eyeless
Yeah,
Jack would be
definitely.
D-list.
I would argue that if we're talking about specifically just terms of popularity, right?
Yeah.
I would say in that case, Eyeless Jack is D-list because of how often he's depicted.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
In terms of
There's still
quality,
there's still an uncomfortable amount of fan art.
Okay,
And
Silent Sonya would be D-list.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. No one. People kind of bring up Silent Sonya almost, even among that community, almost as a piss take.
Yeah.
So
But we
I
can-
think
Win with
If
the
we're
voice
going
of
by how much fan art is
Cywin.
made,
That's
the
Dad's
dating
job.
game would be considered D-list.
I don't think
Hang
dating
on.
game would register for most people at all.
Dating game would be Z-list, if you ask me.
Well, yeah,
Because
but
people, you're talking about specific in terms of popularity because I occasionally, once in a blue moon, hear people bring up dating game in a positive connotation, but not that often, not often enough to where I could say it's popular. Like it's recognizable.
yeah.
And guys, the brother of Silent Sonya was named Jacob,
Yeah.
and our main character he was also named Jacob. This is evidence of a killer pasta extended universe.
Guess
or
a
some
noggin. Well, it gets a noggin jogging, doesn't it? You know, I mean, I'm just saying. Like, I think it's kind of suspicious that we've never seen Jacob the Stalker and Jacob Sherwin in the same room together.
I'm not
Really
gonna
makes you
lie.
think.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, for about a split second, I thought, should we make a picture, like just Photoshop Cobe's head over this fan art picture? But I was like, no, I'm not gonna compare.
I think that would actually make him violently angry.
Yeah.
He will come up from overseas to kick my ass.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I think.
Zoe.
I do have a
honestly-
I
question.
did not.
Oh, what's up?
So you know how you talked about how in the Discord you said, "Hey, give me any popular creepypasta character and I'll change the story into something that might actually be halfway decent." So now obviously this isn't, I wouldn't call this popular by any means. I had just heard of it tonight. But
So
how
you're
would you
wondering?
improve this?
I would put more emphasis on his mental instability, and I would actually have it be more unsettling if he came from a relatively normal household, but maybe his parents were somewhat neglectful because they were too busy with their respective jobs, and that neglect causes him to like seek attention out from other people, and so he kind of like latches on to people to an uncomfortable degree. And like that one girl, like what was her name, Scarlett?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
she associates with him, and he's so starved for attention that he just kind of clings to her. And when he asks her out, and she turns him down respectfully, like like look, yeah, I think we're just better off as friends. Even then, like you wouldn't have an immediate breakdown from him, right? You just like lead up to that where he's like, oh, okay. But he doesn't get the message. He's like, oh, well, I'll win her over eventually. And
Yeah, like an actual simp.
but at the same time, yeah, he gets more and more persistent about it. And eventually she kind of snaps and tells him off because it's something that she feels he needs to hear. Like, I do not like you like that. I will never like you like that. You're kind of obnoxious about how you go about that. That's why people don't feel comfortable around you. But like, he pushes her to her breaking point.
Right.
Because she was friends with him out of the kindness of her own heart. And he took advantage of that and didn't respect it as he should have. And that's when he has his breakdown. Because in his mind, he can't justify why anyone would dislike him, like to the degree that she did. And that's when he like starts justifying to himself what he's about to do to people. And then you don't have some stupid weapon gimmick or anything like that. Like just have him like watching her from the distance and like just shadowing her. Like I had an idea for a similar story in my head, like for someone who was being stalked years ago. And one of the most unsettling things I had in mind for like a story segment was she feels like someone's watching her. She looks over and sees like a silhouette in the mirror, and she's like screams and gets up. And she goes outside, and her father investigates, and they find like a puddle of white stuff. Not a puddle, but like a small bit of you know what outside a window.
Oh God.
Yeah, like, and that shit's you gotta go for that though. You gotta commit to that. Like, you can't just have a stalker that goes around like goes around like haphazardly doing that. You gotta go balls deep into that horror. So yeah, that's basically what how I would do it, and I wouldn't have it be like he outright kills people.
Yeah.
Like he would just stalk them for long periods of time, and like eventually, like I think he would just break down and kill them at some point. Like maybe after his delusions get the better of him. And when I mean delusions, I mean like he would automatically always assume that at some point he could come out to them and confess his quote unquote love to them, and they would immediately reciprocate. And when they don't, that's when he kills them. And any woman that shows him the slightest bit of kindness, those are the ones that kind of those are the ones that he latches onto. Like he's basically like a parasite. That's how I would rewrite this.
Yeah, one of the most unsettling stories, and I don't know if this was, I can't remember if this was a creepypasta or a no sleep, because unfortunately, the reason I know about it was from Cryotic, when he would occasionally read horror stories because he had a nice voice, but then he turned out to be a creep in his own right. It was called Holes, and no, not the classic Shia LaBeouf movie, but about a kid who would stay with his grandparents more often than not, like during the summer, and would start to notice tiny holes appearing all over the house, and then gradually started noticing things going missing, like his favorite shirt and like little bits, like a toothbrush or something like that. And then before culminating in him seeing an eyeball finally peering out of one of those holes, and turns out he had a stalker living in a like sealed off part of the house who would pleasure himself and eventually died back there due to autoerotic asphyxia.
I'm only going based on your Cliff Notes version of it. That sounds like a really good little creepy tale there. Like again, that's the kind of story that you should be going for. Something that's grounded and it makes the reader feel uncomfortable. Like I asked this question years ago when I first appeared on the Bad Creepypasta channel, and by the way, that was the best episode ever because I was on it. At what part of this story is supposed to be scary? Like, do these people understand that the point of creepypasta is to unsettle and unnerve people?
No, they just care about their, like, weeaboo OC getting attention.
But
you can do that with literally every genre, though.
If you just, like, now it's just justified that if they kill, you can consider it creepy. Even though...
Not really.
Even though, at this point, it's almost fetishized by the community.
Yeah, and honestly, like, Kenzie, like you saying that was literally a joke in an episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, like with Willie Nelson, not the Willie Nelson the monster.
Yeah.
Like Shake is coming up with all this stuff to do. Carl is like, "Are we trying to scare him or kill him?" And Shake's like, "Killing is scary."
Right.
It's
I love the ending of that.
But even then, like
they had Shake making that joke.
Yeah, and even then, like they also set up that the victims who are being killed more often than not are abusive parents, awful bullies, and all that kind of stuff. And it's
I would give this a little bit of credit in the sense that I think the idea that they're going for that Scarlet is a victim, like point blank, like she made a mistake in how she approached this, and like approach turning him down, but that didn't justify what he did. Like I think that was still what she was going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have. They should have given us more of an indication as to why they were friends, or if their friendship was sincere at all.
All right, and I have to say about
that's the fan's job.
The abusive household. Why it doesn't work. First of all, it's a cliche in these stories.
It's useless.
Second of all, it's always so over the top.
I would even argue, and this is coming from me of all people, and actually kind of offensive to some degree, where the idea that every single I don't like the fact that that's like a weird kind of justification for a lot of these people. Like, what?
Yeah,
I'm not saying that they're saying that you're guaranteed to be a horrible person if you go through this.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. Okay. Again, another example. South Park. a show that you can argue is like, in terms of the boundaries that they break, is worse than Aqua Teen.
Yeah.
It's like Kenny comes from a ridiculously abusive household, but he has a heart of gold. He doesn't turn into a killer.
I mean, he is a kind of a sex pest, but that's just.
But okay, but he doesn't like. He's into porn and stuff. He never tries to like molest anyone.
Yeah, true.
In fact, he does become a superhero at one point.
Yeah, he's fucking Mysterion.
Wait, what? Huh? Kenny's Mysterion?
I mean, no, what are you talking about?
It's not cool, you guys. It fucking hurts.
I love that episode.
But my last thing about the abusive family is it was just made up for this story. Like, Bloody Painter, there was never an abusive household. The thing, like, again, it was the Chinese author assuming that the American school system works the same way as the Chinese school system. Like, I'm sure the Mongoloid who wrote this was like, oh, Helen lived in a dormitory because his family didn't want him. No. In most of Asia, it's very common for kids that age to be living in a dormitory. It's like there was no mention of the parents being abusive or anything. It was all just made up for this story.
Like, you know who is an incredibly frightening presence and is a horror icon for a good reason? Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And
By the way,
I
saw the trailer today for the new one coming up, and I got real excited.
I haven't seen it yet, honestly.
I mean, the rest of the trailer was kind of whatever. It's just your normal like slasher trailer. But the beginning, when like it shows a house fire that he's trapped in, and you have the three main women who are like shouting as fire trucks are going past, "No, let it burn!" And then he just comes out and then starts just fucking up the firemen, and it was awesome.
So is John Carpenter working on that one too?
Huh?
Is John Carpenter, is he working on that one too?
I don't know.
I honestly, at this point, he's the only person I trust to do with his own movies.
Let me check again.
But as I was saying, like, yeah, Michael Myers is a very frightening being. One of the best scenes in the entire series is the opening scene of the first film with little child Michael going upstairs and murdering the shit out of his older sister for no good reason.
Yeah.
And you can tell by the way the neighborhood looks, how like his costume looks kind of elaborate, kind of indicating that he has a decent amount of his family has a decent amount of money. Mm-hmm. And it's like you can tell this kid had a decent childhood. He had decent parents. He lived in a nice neighborhood, and then he did this for no reason. And there's no explanation for it, and it's kind of it's unsettling, that opening shot where the camera pulls back and all these people are watching, like looking at Michael, like who's just holding his knife and like has this kind of weird 1,000-yard stare, like he can't even comprehend what he just did. And that just makes it all the more unsettling. The fact that there was no justification for what evil lurks in this kid. There's no like, oh, he didn't come from an abusive household. And then you have the Rob Zombie Halloween, and then he was like bullied, and that's what you get when you follow that line of reasoning. I'm not saying that can't work.
Yeah.
Because there've been plenty of media that shows like, oh, abusive household, and there have been examples of serial killers out there who did come from abusive households, like Gacy and I think Dahmer did too, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And I'm sorry for laughing. It's just when you said he did it for no reason, Bagel said, I mean, she was a woman, so.
Oh, well.
So I looked it up. Aside from John Carpenter, like, all of them based on the characters from the original film, I don't think he's involved, but it is the same director from the 2018 one. So.
Okay, I like that film.
I'm at least, so it's at least a good sign.
I kind of hope they cut, like, I like the little kid in the 2018 one, but I kind of hope they kind of cut down the comedy just a little bit. The comedy wasn't bad, it's just that it felt kind of out of place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it then. I love the Halloween films,
I
all
do
three of them.
recommend taking a look at the trailer because the first half with the house fire, got me genuinely excited. I thought it was fucking awesome.
Batman just said Rob Zombie's Michael Myers is legitimately a creepypasta OC lol.
Yeah.
But that's true. And it again is one of those things where what upset me the most is that you could tell Rob legitimately thought he was adding depth to the character by including this half-assed, like easily explained backstory where like yes, his parents were abusive, and but his mom wasn't, and she was a stripper because
Yeah.
Rob Zombie has a compulsive need to show people how hot his wife is.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, that was half of the reason. He thought he was partially thinking he was giving Michael Myers' depth, but also the other half was just him saying, look at my wife.
Imagine legitimately thinking a character like that needs its backstory,
Yeah,
like an elaborate backstory to justify. I just need to know why did he murder his sister when he was a child?
yeah. I mean, which one was it? Like, was it Halloween Resurrection where they were doing like a reality show?
Oh my god, yeah.
Like in that one, they set up like like a high chair with manacles attached to it. Like, oh, see, he had this abusive household. It's like he didn't really. We're just doing that to boost the ratings. It's like that was a joke in that movie.
And they took it seriously.
Yeah, Rob Zombie was like, "Whoa, that's a great idea."
I'm just trying to like. I think it was anyone remember Welshie from That Guy with the Glasses? Like he was one of the few peripheral people who like upload stuff. Like he did mostly horror movie reviews.
No,
and I think he did a review of. It wasn't an outright review of Halloween. I think he just broke down why he felt that the opening scene from Halloween, the first one, was brilliant. And one of the interpretations that I actually like was, the part where he's stabbing his sister and he stops looking at her to look at his knife. And we know logically and from a filmmaking perspective, he did that so they can splash a fake blood on her.
Yeah.
But he said, like, in Michael's mind, like, he was more interested in, like, the object he was using to kill more than his victim itself. Like, that's how unattached he is from murder.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
he, like, for a moment there, he's like, huh. As he's stabbing someone, just, like, looking away.
Yeah.
One aspect that I always thought was interesting for a killer kid that doesn't really get talked about often, and again, say what you want about the book, there is a lot to criticize about it, is that in the book, I know they changed his character in the 2017 movie, and I don't think he was even in the original miniseries at all, was Patrick Hockstetter, who I thought was, like, really genuinely interesting, and it's not a character trait that's really portrayed often, is that he was solipsistic, which means it basically is, I think, therefore I am, but he can't prove that anyone else can think, so he thinks he's the only really real living being, and he doesn't think pain is real, and that no one else is real, so he doesn't think about consequence or even his own safety.
Is that one of the bully characters or one of the main cast?
Yes.
Huh. That actually sounds pretty interesting.
And that was his descriptions in the book, and part of the reason and in the backstory of the book is that he killed his baby brother because he wasn't receiving attention from his parents, and because he thinks he's the only real living being, he's like, well, they should be paying only attention to me.
Huh.
And so, like, that is an interesting train of thought that I think could be exploited more not exploited, but used more in horror. And, like, I think that could be a really interesting trait given to a kid character.
It almost sounds similar to the. I think I went on that long diatribe about my interpretation of if I were Jeff the Killer, and the interpretation of the character I wrote, where he's basically like someone who comprehends morality and feels no need to justify what he does because since I'm doing something that's unquestionably evil, I don't need a justification to do it because I'm evil for doing it.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of similar. Whereas, like, some internal justification that makes you interested as to why they're the way they are. And I think it's almost, in a weird way, chilling when the answer that you get back is very simple and blunt.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, here it's go no like me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go shoot people with an arrow in the chest.
Okay, and I have to bring up, though, one thing that is just fucking ridiculous, which I know is not saying much for a story like this, but, everyone is apparently focusing on whether or not Helen killed Tom, which in The Bloody Painter, it was an accident, like he didn't mean to. But the point is, they're focusing on that, but not like that. The proven fact that Helen killed an entire dorm building full of teenagers.
I have retained exactly no information about the Bloody Painter besides your stupid luck. But why do they all wear hoodies?
Yeah, I
Why?
don't remember anything about the story itself. I just remember about the drama that happened after.
I just remember that. Okay, so like he gets accused of stealing someone's watch. So he gets beat up, and like one of the other students, Tom, like reaches out to him, and they kind of become friends. But then, like one day, Tom's like, "Meet me on the roof of the school," and he's like, "I was actually the one who put the watch in your bag and framed you for stealing." So like Helen got angry at him, and Tom slipped off the roof. Helen tried to catch him, but he fell to his death. So people were like, "Oh, it was an accident." While others were like, "No, he killed him." But then, that night, he just goes from door to door in the dorms, just like breaking down the doors and murdering everyone in the building. It's like,
How
why
did no one wake up from that?
With his bare hands?
with a knife?
I was about to say.
But it's like, okay, so everyone is focusing on the one person that he might or might not have killed, and not the dozens that he did kill for a fact. Like,
I'm sorry, no.
You think they would be taunting him? They would be taunting Jacob about that.
I'm now just picturing the scene from Kung Fu Hustle, the last fight at the end where he's fighting all the guys at once on the fucking staircase. Like that in sort of a dorm where he's just like going around killing people with his bare hands. Like they're coming at him with axes.
Yeah,
He's like beating them all back with martial arts.
I just remember, like, it was described through like two girls having like a Facebook conversation, like, "Hold on, someone's knocking at the door. Oh my god, there's someone out there with a knife, and he's all bloody." And
painting.
Yeah.
I couldn't even dare say call him a bloody painter of some sort.
Yeah, and then it describes as she looked out the hole in the door as like, I know it means the peephole, but I just imagine like there's like this like this 6 foot diameter or 6-inch diameter hole in the door. Like, oh yeah, that's
she looked through the glory hole that is every door.
Wait, question. Would the most famous bloody painter be Vincent van Gogh?
You just find new ways. You find new ways to disappoint me. Do you know that?
You know how disappointed I am in you right now?
Why
do you do this to me?
Raptor.
What have I done to you? I mean, I've done a lot, but what have I done recently?
Again, it's like my honor. It's like my honor student's son being caught with heroin.
Hold on, I'm gonna read some of these comments here. There's only 2, really. God, this is from only a year ago. How did you...
Oh, well, the one from the Marionetter is from a month ago.
Oh, God. I think there should be more to the motive, but the rest I really like.
Also, I sent the Halloween Kills trailer in the chat.
Yeah, how about there actually be a motive?
I mean, like, it's not that there isn't a motive, it's just that it's so weak it is not... There wasn't much thought put into it. This is one of those stories that definitely needed to be a lot longer, honestly. Because, like, I don't know, like, the way that everything is formatted and I think analogy is the inappropriate term. But I see someone who has the potential to write a passable story. Like, if they were to put aside this stupid bullshit OC nonsense and actually try to think of a story that you want to tell and tell it.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's something that kind of gets tossed by the wayside when people want to write these stories. They write the story before they make the character and then write the story for the character.
Yeah.
And that's backwards to me. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like either that or they just come up with like the basic concept. I think it was in the one, like, Matt was like, he was just like, wait a minute, the day the music died, the day the music killed, and then remember that he had to write a story about it.
Yeah. Well, that was a strange moment for a brutal murder. Okay. Nevertheless, I enjoyed the story. I felt bad for Jacob because he seemed like a caring and likable character. Character generally.
No, he didn't. He seemed pretty bland and boring, and then had no personality outside of apparently liking archery and being a simp for this one bitch.
Yeah, he seemed like a wimp.
I don't even mind it. If this, I don't know. Like, I've already gone over my issues with the length of the story, but there's no meat to this. Like, we get passing mentions at best, and even the abusive family is like, what do they do besides like, oh, hey boy, you home? Well, okay then, I will not abuse you. I will go back to watching The Price is Right.
Yeah, it was more like, okay, the dad gets drunk, but like you could.
I have repented in the jail.
Interpret.
Am I forgiven now?
Yes. You could even interpret as like his "Hey boy, you home?" Like as like even in his drunken stupor, he thinks enough like, "Oh, make sure your son is home."
I don't know, but like somewhat. I think people. I think in general it would benefit a lot of these people to stop using creepypastas as their measuring stick as to how they want their story to be told.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I don't want to paint on broad strokes because there have been some creepypasta that I actually feel bad giving it the label of creepypasta because they're so good.
I agree.
Like Psychosis. I love The Showers.
Yes.
I love especially the teacher character and the way he's depicted is one of my favorite characters in any creepypasta I've ever read.
Oh,
because like I think everyone has that teacher, at least one teacher exactly like that. And then you have this, and it's like, why do you always saddle yourselves with the bottom of the barrel? Like, even if you, I know there are people that legitimately want to rewrite Jeff the Killer because they almost do it as a challenge to themselves, you know? Like, let me see what I can do with the bare minimum that this story offers me.
Yeah, but you see,
but these people want their characters to be shoulder to shoulder with the original story, and that's a problem to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And like the thing is, like, even the people who want to like rewrite it, like they don't put in the thought like you did, like how you said you would rewrite Jeff the Killer. They're just like, oh well, if I just tweak a detail here and a name there, boom, much better.
So we should at some point we need to cover the fucking the contest that they had, the Jeff the Killer rewrite contest. I really want to look into the drama that apparently happened behind the scenes on that one, because I've heard about it, but I can't definitively prove anything.
Yeah, well, and, like, I don't know anything about that, but all I do know is, the one who organized the whole thing
is the one that won it.
Yeah, and, he's like, that had nothing to do with it. You cannot convince me otherwise. No, that had everything to do with it.
That piece of shit. Well, to be fair, it's also one of those things where it's like being the tallest little person in the room. It's like my story was the tallest. So it was like by half an inch, maybe.
Yeah.
And like, have you read the fucking extended version? I haven't read it myself. I would listen to Fishstick on a Stick stream where he read like the uncut version of the Jeff the Killer story he wrote.
There was an uncut version.
That it was you. Oh god, man. Look, I have nothing against Banning. I want to say that right here and now. I don't know the guy personally. I don't. From what I've seen, he seems like a nice enough guy. A little bit too chipper for my taste, but you know how I am.
Wait, who is this?
The guy, I think his name is Kenning Ban. I don't even remember his name. I just remember Banning because it's the easiest thing.
Jeff Kanan.
Hold on.
Get it? Jeff Kanan.
Can you please stop?
No, but
Stop now. Stop and forever hold your peace.
was he the one who wrote the remake?
Yeah, K banning Callum. Yeah, this is it.
Okay, all I know is I saw a picture of him, and he just had like the most smug look on his face.
I saw.
Send me
There's
this
a-
picture. I have to see it.
You know, there's a video that he did. Like he had a little bit of a debate with Slimebees, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm counting myself for this. Like for some reason, because I have a debate where I quote unquote moderated on a channel, and by moderated I mean it was supposed to be a debate between Overanalyst and him, and I cut in too often. Every single person who like tries to, I guess, do verbal fencing with Slimebeast, they end up like losing some IQ points during the debate for some reason. And banning, that's when my first impression of him is that I don't. My gut tells me I don't care for him,
Yeah.
and I trust my gut. It's the same thing before all that controversy came out with Dream. Like my gut tells me, like fuck this guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to use Gemma's phrase, like about one of the other creepypasta writers, it's like Banning thinks he's the dog's bollocks. Like he thinks he's an amazing writer.
And I hate saying it, because I don't think I'm that better. I'm being blunt. I'm being dead honest.
I think you are, and I'm not just saying that because you're a friend. Like I honestly think you are.
I think it's also one of those. I admire anyone who could write at length like this. I've tried, and I'm not. My attention span is in the mill. But like I'm looking at all these. He's written multiple Jeff the Killer stories, and books. They're exceptionally long. The uncut version. I actually was reading it for my channel. I was gonna read it for my channel, and it was so long I refused to finish it. Because it's not even, it's bad enough that it's a boring story. It's just it's so long, and the characters also come off as like caricatures rather than actual characters.
Yeah.
Like he has it's a very odd way of writing. And it's also one of those things where I'm sorry, I keep starting over myself. I'm trying to like break down how I feel about this whole thing. I remember watching the stream of Fish Stick on a Stick. And apparently in the extended version, he tried to have like a weird kind of retcon for Randy's character, where it kind of expanded upon Randy and said that he was like a kid who like came up in a sort of abusive household. Well, abusive in the sense of extremely high expectations by a business dad, you know?
Yeah.
And at one point, his dad actually, when Randy was 13, paid for a prostitute for his son. Because his father's justification was that you need to get this out of your system so it keeps you from getting distracted when you're trying to accomplish something down the line. And Randy described, it's an interview that Randy's doing with this like talk show or something. And the character Randy describes that nothing happened from it, but the prostitute felt so bad for him, they just sat down and talked for a while. And like throughout the time that his dad thought they were like doing the do, and Randy ranted to her about how his life is and how unfair it is, and the prostitute shamed him for not taking advantage of his privileged upbringing, and like putting himself in a position where use what you have now to put yourself in a position where you can do better when you get to your father's age. And it's the cliff. Basically, it was Randy giving us a Cliff Notes version of a story that sounds infinitely more interesting than the one we were reading.
Yeah. Well,
and that's Banning's worst problem, is that he always has. He's like fucking what's her name? Twilight bitch, Stephanie Meyer.
Oh yeah.
Stephanie Meyer actually has interesting ideas for stories, but she's a shit writer and doesn't know what to pay attention to.
Yeah. Well, so she's like the Grant Morrison.
Hey.
He has good ideas, but writing the actual stories for those ideas, I think, are shit.
I'm talking about comic book Grant Morrison, yes?
Yeah. I will never forgive him for turning Magneto into mutant Hitler.
I don't know. I don't either, but Am I thinking of Alan Grant, where Grant Morrison, like one of them, is very keen on not throwing away characters from the Golden Age. Like they want to try to incorporate that into the modern comics.
Uh,
I like that. I think the only reason I respect Grant Morrison, if that's the one I'm thinking about, is that I like that mentality where don't throw away the past, work with it.
yeah, yes. Okay, that's something I can respect of him. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. But
so about the story, fuck it.
Well, I was going
And
to
we've been
say
streaming for over 3 hours now.
about the remake, though, is that I was actually getting genuinely interested when Jeff and Randy were talking, like, oh, you know,
yes,
sorry, it's all just
me too.
posturing. It's all about my dad and blah blah blah. I don't even like doing.
I felt I was the exact same way. I actually thought, wow, this is some actual interesting reinterpretation of shit.
But then it turned into, you're gonna stand there and let my boys get their licks. It's like,
yeah,
oh.
It's like I felt like I was punished for getting invested.
Yeah.
And I actually thought about that too. Like that could be a really interesting thing. Like I would actually rewrite it if you're gonna go with that exact same premise in the story outlined as Canning did. Like, I think I did a 4-part series where I read the regular version, not the uncut version. And one of the points I made is that it's hard to sympathize with Jeff when he's able to like beat up these 3 boys at once easily.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you don't sympathize with what he's going for. I'm saying that if he had gotten jumped and he was getting the shit kicked out of him, but he didn't go down, that would give us an indication that he might be someone you don't want to fuck with.
Yeah. Well, and you see, the thing is, too, what pisses me off about the whole, like, oh, he can beat up all 3 of them because he knows boxing. Like, you're not doing that at any age unless you're, like, MMA level. Like professional fighter. Like, okay, I used to take karate classes. And when I was going for second degree black belt, one of the tests we had to do was sparring 2 people at once. And my teacher, who had, he's been like the highest rank of black belt for nearly 30 years now, you know what his instruction to me was for that?
What?
Defend and stay away from them. Don't try to fight. Like, you have, a whatever level black belt telling you that's the best thing to do. Not like, you're not just gonna go wading in and just beat up multiple people.
I think, to be fair, Jacob. I'm looking at Jacob the Stalker's name. Jeff, I think, is supposed to be like 6 foot something and like supposed to be built, and it's like, I don't know. It's like it just doesn't work. It doesn't work, especially when he's supposed to be like still 13 or 15, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. The continuity is all over the fucking place.
Have you ever seen those videos of Mike Tyson at 15 sparring? Well, not sparring, but he's like shadowboxing.
No.
And he's moving so fast that it actually looks like he's gliding his feet.
Damn.
But it's like that was someone who like lived with like in the fucking gym with his customato, his teacher and father figure, and like he basically ate, slept, and like breathed boxing for most of his life after when he got taken in. And Jeff the Kid was like this spoiled kid with a dad who just put him in a one class.
Yeah, okay, and even if Jeff is going to be like 6'6", built like a brick shit house, you have to specify that in the story.
I think in general it would have been better if he just like took a heavy beat. Like he needs to take a beating so we can sympathize with him and we be a little bit tense whenever the 3 show up again.
Yeah, but see,
if he can just easily take, yeah.
The thing though is like it was just a power fantasy.
And it's weird because I think what was it? Banning was one of the few people that, well, the handful of people that said like, "Oh, it's just a power fantasy. Like we need to actually add some depth to it." Like really? You call this depth? Like it's like, oh, his eyes the size of dinner plates. A fitting analogy, Jeff thought.
All right, but yeah, Yeah, we gotta end this. Like, I'll read some of the comments here. I'm sorry, guys. We got away from the comments. Like Kenzie said, we've been going for over 3 hours now. I still need to have dinner, get ready for work tomorrow.
And I need to go back to binge reading Berserk.
Yes, you do. All right.
It is so good.
Let's see. Seen all Halloween movies. Gotta say they're better than Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
I'm trying to.
Gotta disagree there.
Arguments to be had.
The
on
It
both
book has
sides.
its moments, even though it has its other moments. Helen, a known little bitch, murders dozens of people with ease. Yeah. I thought Bloody Painter was the guy that was on the walls and laughing and drinking wine and stuff.
I thought that, cause I remember there was another story that I read a long time ago. I always thought Blade Painter was like that. Do you know the one I'm talking about? Where it's like some guys go to a circus and like there's this like evil clown that like makes people paint with their own blood or some stupid shit like that.
I don't remember that one.
I mean, they're all the same. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all creepypastas are the same. I just don't want them in my country.
Fishstick read the Jeff the Killer remake, the first sequel of 5. It took him 7 hours. Jesus. I gotta give Fishstick credit for hanging in there like that.
He was losing his shit. Well, not like yelling or whatnot, but he was like, you could tell like the color draining out of his face as he kept reading. Again, it's also something that it's a slog.
Yeah. Character development for Randy. Haha, bitch, you thought. Yeah. Yeah, everyone just reminds me of Catcher in the Rye.
Fucking hate that book.
It's an awful
Why don't
book.
you? I saw something. Why don't you make the
What's bad about the book? I never read it.
It's so pretentious.
Yeah, and actually, South Park described it best. It's just like a pretentious teenager whining all the time.
And ends with him. It just ends with the moral that he doesn't like want to grow up. Like
he just wants to be a Toys R Us
we could
kid.
tell.
So I'm glad I missed that out in like a 12th grade English class.
Yeah, like I even straight up told my English teacher like, this story is garbage. I am not finishing this. And she's like, you know what? Okay, just because of your honesty.
I told my English teacher that I said, if I were a drinker, I could make a drinking game out of this.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that would make you liable for my death. And he looked at me and he was like, I mean, yeah. Like, we even, like, started making jokes about the rules. Like, every time he's, like, says Old Jane, every time he says phony. Like, we started making rules for a drinking game.
Why does he use Old Jane in lieu of phony?
Yeah, like, there's always, like, these plot... Well, first of all, he calls every living being a phony, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then, like, pretty much at least once a chapter, he'll be like, oh, I'll give Old Jane a call, like an old childhood friend, and then never does.
So what you're telling me is that if all of these creepypasta writers were just born in the wrong century, that's what you're telling me? They would get the best-selling published authors if only they were born around that time where Catcher in the Rye came out.
Probably.
I wanna run away.
Again, what is this hold and kill the thought process behind calling it that? That's so potential. Why do that?
Why are you asking as if there's an actual answer?
Yeah. Alright, anyway.
It might be out there.
Alright. But yeah, we'll be thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks. You can thank me for bogarting my way onto the stream.
You can't keep doing that.
For hanging in there through all of
stop one day.
Through the SCP. Like, I know it was very long, but I'm gonna be honest, I just got really like caught up in it, so
it was so long you got caught up in it, huh?
No, I knew it was taking longer than it should have, but I was like, no, I'm enjoying this.
Oh, I see.
You're not helping your case, Manny.
Well, Yeah, you got the stamina for it, brother. Good on you.
Who said I'm trying to help it? But and I hope you at least got some laughs out of Jacob the Stalker. Guys, thank you for joining me. We'll be back tomorrow for Empress Teresa.
I will not.
Well, yeah, not Vince, but where hopefully I will get to read some more lines of the greatest character ever.
Lint Lady. I mean,
Yes,
Jenks Brothers.
I mean, even if she doesn't have any lines, I'm still gonna be doing the Jan voice to
She'll be with us in spirit.
to flirt with Mike and make him incredibly uncomfortable.
Who's Mike?
The one guy.
May the lint be with us.
Mikey Mike and the Mike Bunch from Beanhaven.
For some reason, I thought Michael Lawal from the Back Creepypasta channel.
No. Like last
He's
time,
not real.
Last time, like Cameron said something like, Manny, you should do the Jan voice, flirting with Mike, and Mike was like, no, you don't do that. I was like, oh, why not, Mikey? I love my little Mikey. Come to Mama Jan.
I would find you and stab you just for that. By the way, so we're gonna cap this off, and I'm gonna give a suggestion for an actual good story. Go look up Hung, Drawn, and Quartered by Black Persephone. It's a really good creepypasta, and I think it was written in a kind of weird contest where it was like, you get two cliche premises for a story, and I think it was, let me see. It was a group of teenagers summon a demon and evil shadows, and make an original story with it, and the approach that Black Persephone took was so unexpected, and it's a really great story.
Nice. I wrote that one down. Thank you. But, so yeah, we'll Kenzie Raptor and I will be back tomorrow with,
Teresa.
yeah.
With Rap Rat.
Yeah, well, hopefully next week, we'll be Rap Rat. It's whenever, Bioman's
That's
able to
it.
come back on stream.
You know why the web rats look so crazy? Do you know why he's a web rat?
No,
It's
not
because
now.
he's on drugs.
No, we're wrapping it up now.
We're wrapping it up.
Oh,
He's on
fuck
cannabis.
you.
Wrapping it up.
No, he's on.
End of the
He's wrapping
stream.
it up.
I'm gonna
It's
eat
over.
and read now.
It's done.
Bye-bye.
It's
Bye,
done.
everyone.
Please
Bye.
remember to
He's
like,
on-
comment, subscribe.
He's on drugs. He's
We'll
dying
see-
of overdose.
Raptor,
Bye, everyone.
See you next time. Same
Yep.
bean
Bye,
channel.
Raptor.
Same
I'm not
bean
joking, I'm
channel.
serious. Give him his EpiPen.